Good afternoon, gamers, and welcome to the L'Oreal Men Expert Valorant Invitational. And it is going to be a damn good afternoon. Avril, mate, good to see you. How are you? It's been a hot minute. How you doing?
Yeah, that certainly has. Is that Tune Squad or Fun Squad or what? I just want to be part of the squad, mate. That's just
Tune
what
Squad,
we're
yeah.
here about right today. Tune Squad showing up
Space
big
Jam.
now for for the Invitational, day 1 of 3. It looks like a really hot competition out here. 8 of the best teams in Australasia.
Oh, yeah, 8 of the best. And look, they're going to be competing for some big prizes throughout the tournament. And look, this afternoon, it is going to be the group stage. So groups are going to be pretty good. Both of them looking pretty, I don't know, even, I'd say, in one regard. Some people think they're sort of stacked one direction more than the others. But at least here on the mainstream, we're going to be covering Notick taking on AVANT initially, then EXO and Legacy, and then moving forward, you've got ORD taking on AVANT later on in the afternoon, which I think that one's going to be Conk and Komodo on the mic. So, yeah, it's going to be a good time.
To give you guys an overview of how the tournament's going as well, the 8 teams spread across groups here, 4 teams per group. Top 2 make it through the playoffs in what will be our elimination bracket a little bit later on. But for now, I mean, there's going to be 12 games tonight. So plenty of streams going up. It's not just the main chief stream that we're on today right now, but some of the community streams are going to be there as well. I'm sure the info will be around somewhere. I'll grab the info in just a sec for everyone. But for now, basically, if you want to know what game you're looking for, every single game is going to be streamed. I think that's the most important thing here. As we look towards the 3 that we've mentioned already. Here we go. We got Temporal Peronius on a stream, Maxi 2-Tap Tony, and Digital QF on a stream as well for the other 3 streams that'll be available today on your screens. So, yeah, those are all the games. If there's anything in there that interests you, make sure you head over to those channels. But on the mainstream today, we got some real bangers, I got to say.
Yeah, very excited for, I reckon, the second matchup in particular, because I really want to see what Legacy are capable of. I think they're playing the first match as well against Mind Freak over on that first channel, Temporal and Peronius. So that'll be interesting one to see how that ends up, considering Mind Freak, they've got those couple of roster changes coming into the tournament as well. So we'll see how they perform. But yeah, I just want to see what Legacy's really made of. But yeah, we'll have a quick look at both the groups so you know who's playing who, what they're playing for, and you know where they're going, etc. So as you can see here in Group A, you'd have EXO Clan, Legacy, Esports, Mind Freak, and Rip and Tear. And then over in Group B, you have Order, Notick, Avant Gaming, and Kanga Esports. So if you're looking at it, you know, just out of nowhere, I'm thinking it feels like, to me, Group A is that little bit more stacked, obviously having the first and third seed in there. And that's interesting as well. Legacy coming into this tournament as the 3rd seed, considering they haven't had any recent results. So, you know, I'm down with that. I think as a Counter-Strike connoisseur, I'm fine with that. What about you, Avril? What are your thoughts?
I think it feels about right in terms if you look at on paper strength, it does feel right. There's some argument to be made if you're looking from the perspective of, yeah, they haven't had any results yet. It's a new team technically. We don't quite know where to put them on paper. I would say they look the 3rd strongest going into this tournament. EXO Order being number 1 and number 2 should be fairly standard here. Avant, you could make an argument, potentially could have been in that number 3 spot as well. So Avant secretly currently my number 4. I guess it's not a secret anymore. And then we've got the rest of the teams as well between MF, Notick, Kanga, and Rip and Tear, who have all done reasonably well across the region and previous tournaments as well, between LPL, ROV, even OVO for some of the teams. So it's a lot of mainstays. There'll probably be people thinking, you know, where are some of the other teams as well? I mean, there's plenty of good teams in AU, but I think the 8 that we got here, I'm not disappointed by any of the picks that we have so far. I think all 8 teams deserve it. All 8 teams are going to be very competitive, and that's going to make both groups very competitive as well. It's probably not going to be too many major blowouts. I think there are going to be some favorites, but I do expect every team to be good.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the teams as well are going to be. I feel like the competition is going to be close, is what I'm sort of really trying to say. And if you want to have a quick look at the way, or I guess the tournament format, the way that it sort of plays out. So initially, we're going to have the group stage, which you'll see today. Then heading forward, you'll have the double elim format. So the top 2 teams from either group will move forward into that. And then, you know, as expected, losers of those upper bracket games going to drop down to the lower bracket, have that second chance to make it through to the grand final. And then on Sunday, as you can see there, we will have not only the lower bracket final, but also the grand final where we will find out our winner with a big old best of 5 as well. So plenty of chances to prove who is the king, I guess, in the L'Oreal Men Expert Invitational.
And the best of 3s only start tomorrow in the elimination bracket as well. So for today, we'll be playing best of 1s in the groups. It is going to be round robin, like I mentioned there. 12 total matches worth of best of 1s. Plenty of games to get through here, and you want to be top 2, like you mentioned. And to get top 2, I think you need to be finishing 2-1. I think the scoreline would be expected here. If you want to be top 2, you would be looking at beating the 2 teams below you and losing the team above you. That's the easiest way to make the maths work. Otherwise, we're looking at potential, 2-2 score lines where tiebreakers are going to have to be introduced to kind of figure out who gets to go on in, and that's going to come down to head-to-head. And then if we can't decide versus head-to-head, then it'll go down to map differential, rather a round differential. So, who's ever got more rounds overall. I don't expect we'll have too many tiebreakers unless, there's a lot of games being exchanged. There would have to be perhaps a few upset wins coming on through, and I think the best of 1 format is going to allow some of that. So you will need to be fairly consistent to win 3-0 to make sure you get out of your group. I mean, teams like EXO Clan and ORD are probably the teams that have that kind of expectation to go 3-0. Then if you are the Legacies, if you are the AVANT, you're probably looking more towards the 2-1s.
Yeah, of course. Now, before we go too much further, Avril, you're looking very, very good. Did you have you been using any of the L'Oreal Men Expert products that you've received in the mail?
I actually have. I'm going to be
You
real
have?
with you. I tried some of that. I got it first between all the casters, so I went
I
ahead
haven't got mine
and
yet.
just popped some on there. And I'll tell you what, especially the face wash, that is actually quite energizing. I don't know what it is. It's kind of got that tingly feeling. I haven't looked at the ingredients, but it doesn't lie when it says it wakes you up, because it's got something in it. It definitely makes your face tingle.
Yeah, right. Is it like minty? Has it got that sort of like minty burny feel? Like a
Kinda,
good burn, not a bad burn?
it doesn't, I mean, I don't smell a mint, and I don't like, it
Okay.
doesn't, I can't feel if it's mint, but it's got some of that energy related to it for sure. It's got that kind of real fresh feeling onto it. So wake up in the morning, wash your face with that one. Works pretty well.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, while we're on that note, we do have to thank L'Oreal Men Expert for being the main sponsor of the tournament. We also have Intel 10th Gen processors, which I've been looking at one myself. I'm about to purchase one. They are looking pretty damn good. So if you really need a bit of extra power in your PC, certainly go get yourself an Intel 10th Gen processor. And of course, the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the hosts of the tournament. They got this one all put together for everyone. So it is an invitational. It has just been put in here as sort of like a 1-weekend tournament, which is good to see. There hasn't been a huge amount of Valorant tournaments in the region. So big shout outs to the Chiefs for getting this one organized as well.
Yeah, we wouldn't be doing this without them and all the sponsors, of course, and plenty to win as well. I'm not too sure if we talked about the prize pool here yet, but it's a 10K invitational, Mac. It's plenty of money on the line here. 10K split between 6,000 for first place, and they get 5 Intel gaming PCs, 3,000 for second place, and 1K for third place as well. On top of that, viewers have a chance as well to win themselves a Glitch Pot PC. And the MVP of the entire tournament is going to have like an Omen branded PC as well. So 7 overall PCs to be given away.
That is pretty nuts indeed. You guys could be winning yourself a PC or 2. No, maybe not you guys in chat. If any of the players are in chat currently, then you guys could be winning those PCs. So
exactly.
Make sure you play your little hearts out and get yourself a brand new PC. So that's pretty sick. What else we got? So, we had a quick discussion about the recent results of a couple of these teams. I don't know. Do you have any favorites going into this? It's like from per group basis, Avril?
Yeah, I think we talked about EXO and ORD. Again, those are probably the top 2 teams you have to look out for. That's probably why they're first and second ranked in terms of the actual seedings coming in. Like I said, there's no weak teams, I would say, in this particular top 8 here. This is the same kind of top 8 you would expect, moving forward in something like a first strike. I mean, you could argue there's some other teams that would be among this mix as well. What's great about the OCE region so far for Valorant is there is a lot of competition going back and forth. There is going to be some, heavy exchanges between the teams for sure. I think EXO Clan are in a position where they are defending champs of the most recent Ignition Series event from ROV. So of the Ignition Series era, EXO Clan kind of share that with Launch, who then became ORD. But because Launch, aka ORD, have kind of changed up their members in terms of the lineup, they're going to need to, at least in my opinion, kind of prove this new lineup to work it out. So for ORD, I think I'm looking forward to seeing how their new members are going to go. They picked up a couple of Ground Zero guys between Autumn, now called KL, and Disco.
Yeah.
And they've kept a few of the old dogs in there as well between, Dick Stacy, who else they got there, Texter, and Tux. So it's still a really strong team on paper.
Yeah, and then look, if we have a look at Legacy as well, we're having no recent results, but who they're made of. You've got Ferg, who is going to be leading the charge there. Him and Dioxide both on that team. Even Gaza as well. He was one of the big names back in the day from CS. They've got a lot of experience. Ferg obviously was in the launch lineup, but now he's going to be leading this new, I guess, pack of wild young ones. I guess I don't know if you call Panic young. I think he's younger than me, but he looks pretty old, doesn't he? So look, interested to see what Panic can do in a competitive setting in Valorant, though. So there's going to be his, I guess, debut in terms of like a proper core 5.
Yeah.
I think he was in Coffee for a little while there,
Yeah,
but he wasn't there for long.
He's been bouncing around. I mean, I saw him in a few trials before as well. And you're right, this is his first actual team in Valorant so far. So he's another player that's got a decent amount of history coming from the Counter-Strike scene. Dioxide is a player that I got to mention a little bit more as well. He played with Ferg on the original Bumble Boys roster in beta, so he was kind of among the crew in beta that kind of dominated that period of time. It was Dioxide, Ferg, Crunchy, and they're the only players from that Bumble Boys roster, that original one, that I think are still playing currently. And Dioxide's come back as well. He actually took a bit of a break. He competed a little bit earlier on, then decided to basically step away from the comp scene. And now this is his first proper team back as well. So very excited to see what Dioxide's going to be bringing to the table.
Yeah, and even Gaza as well. I don't think has he been in many teams yet, or is this going to be his debut as well? Because I know he plays with a lot of the order players a lot of the time. He's very good friends with Texter.
Yeah, I'm looking through the history here, and it does look like this is his first proper team, at least in terms of recorded history that I can look up. So that should be very interesting for Gaza in terms of, I don't think I've casted him, so we can say that much for sure. Zinkoko, obviously, we know about. Ferg, we know about. Dioxide very early on. Panic, we've seen a little of, but not really enough. And I haven't seen Gaza play in Valorant just yet, at least not at this level. So that's going to be an interesting storyline to look forward to when we get to see some Legacy games.
All right, so before we throw to a break, let's just go over our, I guess, predictions for the tournament. The other day, I did reach out and say Rip and Tear was going to be my favorite for the whole tournament. When I say favorite, I mean I'm just predicting they're going to pull a bunch of upsets. And then I quickly jumped into TeamSpeak afterwards, let the boys know I picked them and told them not to let me down. So hopefully they did a lot of homework and are ready for the next couple of days. Void and the boys can maybe pull a bit of an upset or two there. But in terms of favorites, definitely going to be looking at EXO or Order to be taking this one out.
Yeah, definitely agree with that one. They look like the strongest team so far until proven otherwise. Another team is going to have to come and dethrone them for 2 major tournaments in a row. It's been these 2 squads right at the top number 1 and number 2 positions. So yeah, it's going to come down to other teams challenging for the throne.
All right. Well, it is going to be Notick and AVANT coming up just after this break. So ladies and gentlemen, don't go too far. We'll see you soon.
If lag's ruining your online gaming, it's time to do something about it with Game Path. By using machine learning and accessing hundreds of points of presence, it ensures your game's data is always on the fastest path available. That means with Game Path, lag is typically reduced by 30%, as well as improving the overall stability and smoothness of the game. Game Path, just $10 a month for our fastest, smoothest gaming connection. Begin your 1-month free trial today. It starts with yes.
Get elite real-world performance for your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors. If you're looking to game, create, live stream, or stay productive, 10th Gen Intel Core processors deliver an optimal balance of frequency, cores, and threads to handle real-world usages. Get enthusiast-level performance with an Intel Core i9 processor, up to 5.3 GHz clock speed for peak gaming performance and content creation workloads. Or for competitive gameplay and content creation, choose an Intel Core i7 with up to 5.1 GHz clock speed to handle your demanding applications. The Intel Core i5 processor with up to 4.8 GHz gives you a seamless AAA gaming and entertainment experience. And with up to 4.6 GHz clock speed, the Intel Core i3 is a great fit for everyday tasks and productivity. If you're looking to push your system even further, get additional performance headroom with unlocked 10th Gen Intel Core processors, supported by Intel's advanced overclocking controls. Bring elite, real-world performance to your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to have a look at the first matchup of the day. That's going to be AVANT taking on Notick for the, I guess, the first game of the group stage, especially here on the main channel as well.
Yep.
And it's going to be myself and the wonderful, beautiful Avril bringing you all the action for the first two games this evening. And then, of course, we will have Komodo and Conky, or Konkmodo, if you want to go that route, taking over for the third game and maybe a tiebreaker at the end of the night, depending on what the situations are with groups.
Yeah, so yeah, there's going to be, again, to repeat myself, plenty of games here. 12 matches in the group stage, round robin the entire way. Everyone's going to play 3 games, all best of ones, and all matches will be broadcasted. So, you know, we have a lot of community channels across the board as well to make sure you get a chance to see all the games between Temporal Peronius with Matsi, 2-Tap Tony as well, and Digital Q. We have covering the different games. But, you know, we're here to talk about AVANT and Notick to start things off with, and two very interesting teams, Mac. AVANT, a little bit more history. Notick is a little bit more recent as a team. I think everyone will remember AVANT from as far back as OVO. They played under the control roster. They haven't made any roster changes as far as I'm aware. Notick have been around, I believe, I don't know if I'm 100% sure on the stat, but as far as I'm aware, around since Rise of Valor. They've been a Rise of Valor team. They have made a decent number of changes. Notably, they did lose Ninim over towards Akatsuki, who are now Direwolves. So this team has definitely made a few changes since then, and both teams are already qualified. In fact, they're invited to the current Rise of Valor First Strike event before we head into the top 8 of the main event for First Strike and OCE.
And it's going to be an interesting one as well. Actually, on the Notick lineup, I don't see Noisia for this game, at least not on VLR.gg.
He's not.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at the look at AVANT before we jump into Notick. So this is the team lineup, and well, I guess Avril, do you want to take us through these names, because I don't know how to say M4 Jaw, honestly.
M4 Jaw.
M4 Jaw.
We'll stick with Major for that one, I think.
Oh, of course, yes. No, I had no idea that's what it was supposed to say.
Were you capping right then? I'm not sure if you were kidding or not.
Yeah, I was joking. I was just doing a funny joke. Yeah.
We actually cover this team in OVO as well. It's Lakers, XE Special, and Major. This is a team that came top 4 in OVO under the control team control game. I can't remember exactly what they were called. Just control is probably fine for them in that first Ignition Series tournament. So that was their best result so far. The interesting thing about AVANT is since then, despite not making any roster changes, they've been certainly making their way through the region. They didn't do super well, I don't think, in Rise of Valor, and they would attest to that as well. You know, I had the chance to speak to Lakers especially, and I know that they weren't super pleased with how they ended up in Rise of Valor, where in the last chance qualifier, they finished 9th, 12th, and they lost to Kanga Esports, who are also in this tournament, Max. So there is maybe a chance for them to get revenge there, but they would have to. Yeah, they'll be playing against Kanga a little bit later on in this round robin. So I think the AVANT versus Kanga matchup is going to be interesting later on. That's going to be covered, I believe, on one of the other streams. And since then, AVANT haven't really had any major placements in notable tournaments. So this will be their first chance to come through and prove themselves once again to be a very top team.
All right, and before we get too deep into the discussion, let's have a quick look at what Notick have for us, or at least what they're made of. And tonight it is going to be Sicko, Ellen Page, Pixel, Infrequent, and Saxley, who are going to be filling out the roster with DigiDog. There is a sub in case, Australian internet does Australian internet things and we need to get someone else in. But look, this is it. That's going to be the team. Ellen Page, of course, is noisier. For some reason, he's decided to go for an alias swap coming into Valorant. But if anyone out there knows, a little bit thing or two about CS, Noisy, a staple from CS from a fair while ago now. He's been around the scene for ages, similarly to Infrequent and Pixel, who's been around for a long time as well.
And it is a new roster as well. Like I mentioned, this is the team that has made quite a few changes since we've seen them. Their old roster during ROV was Ninim, Pixel, DigiDog, Sicko, and Kamzi. So there's plenty of new players among them now. DigiDog even moving over towards the sub position. Over in ROV, which is really the only main tournament we've seen them play so far in terms of major results, they finished in the lower bracket of the last chance qualifier, and they lost to Mindfreak, and that ended up being a forfeit loss as well. So I guess you could argue the last game they played, where they actually played the game, was a 1-2 result versus Ground Zero in the upper bracket final of that last chance qualifier. The same one that AVANT finished, 9th, 12th. So a much better result than AVANT. And Notick needed to beat Mindfreak to make it to the actual main event of RV. So they only missed out by one match, and they missed that one out because of a forfeiture. So I think Notick are coming into this tournament with a kind of new vigor in them as well, because they want to prove themselves in a new lineup. They want to be able to kind of prove that as well. If they didn't have the forfeit versus Mindfreak, they should have been there in that top 4, in the top 6 rather, for ROV, top 4 maybe, yeah, and they would have had a really good run in ROV, but did fall short a little bit, and now they want to try and make up for it.
Yeah, look, I feel like these guys certainly have the ability to take the win here today. AVANT, I see that lineup and I'm thinking, cool, they've been around for a little while. They have some pretty good chemistry in their team, not making too many changes I don't have they made a change? I don't think they've made a change for a very long time. Since that control lineup.
No, they're not.
For AVANT.
Same roster.
Yeah, it's the same roster. So they've got the chemistry at least going for them. Notick coming in with a couple of fresh swaps that may play a factor, but maybe it's for the best. Maybe we could see some upset potential here in the first map of the day, but I still feel like AVANT's going to be going into this as the favorites.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a best of one here, and it is going to be Ascent as well. AVANT choose defense over on Ascent, and for both teams, we banned through the other 3 maps. We've done the vetoes here. Notick ended up being the higher seeded team in terms of banning both the other maps. So Haven gone, Bind gone via Notick, AVANT ban out split, and that is going to be leaving us with just the Ascent left.
Okay, before we get too deep into this one, I'm just going to go find the post. I believe I can probably post it in chat. But you guys at home can actually win a very, very nice looking PC. There is a gleam.io link, which should be posted in chat roughly when you guys hear this come up on stream. But it is a very, very pretty PC, if I do say so myself. And I believe it's the Tag Mods PC. So it's got a whole bunch of lights on the front, some cool graphics on the side. Not sure what's in the middle of it, what's, makes the core. I know Intel's in there. So obviously it's going to be good, but look, it looks so pretty. So you guys all at home can have a chance to win that by entering the giveaway. So go over to the Chiefs Twitter. Yeah, go over to the Chiefs Twitter, find the post. I'll try to put it in. I'll put it in chat now. So, scroll up. It'll be in chat. Hopefully I can do that and not get banned. Good. I haven't been. So go do that and you can win yourself a PC. So feel free, and big thanks to Tag Mods for this PC.
And also, if you didn't realize it, you'll see it once you actually get the pictures of the PC, but it's themed based on the Glitch Pop skin line from Valorant itself. So you get like a nice themed PC, which is really interesting. And I'm sure inside of it is all pretty good stuff. I mean, the PCs that all the players win. So the winning team, the first place team, they get 6K obviously in cash, but the 5 Intel PCs they get have stuff like, a 3080 in there, which is really hot. They got, some i9s in there as well, some 10900, 10900Ks in there, 16 gig RAM, some of them 32 gigs RAM for some of the other ones, Samsung 970 Evo Pluses, so heaps of good stuff in the PCs, and each one of the sponsors is putting in one of the PCs themselves as well, so that's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely sick, and there's many PCs that I think it's 7 in total, right, that are being given away. 7, 5 to the winners, and 1 obviously through this giveaway. and I'm not 100%.
One to the MVP.
One to the MVP. There you go. So, well, there's a chance that someone can be winning 2 PCs, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, because if you win first place and you're also the MVP, you get 2 PCs, which that'll be quite interesting.
But yeah, I feel like you don't need 2 PCs, so maybe they can just give me one of those PCs because I am, in fact, the MVP. Anyway, we do just have a couple of issues that we're just getting through before we get into the action, but it won't be long, and we're here to take you through it anyway. So, look, anything else to say? Like, head-to-head, what do you think the chances are? Oh, all right, don't worry. It's pistol round. We're going in. Let's go. Avril, are you ready? Because lots of people are dead. Looks like in Freak was just managed to get a pick on Major. We are going to see them heading in towards the B site over here. Looking to go for retake. Spikes planted. What Kenny rather going to be coming out of market. Pixel finds himself double there from the corner with the Ghost. And that is going to be the pistol round. Good job there for Notick, who have managed to take the first round.
I'll tell you what, you asked a question there, Mac, but really actions speak louder than words currently as we get straight into it. First round's out already. Notick looking pretty strong there as well. Just the 1 death on Kamzi, who is going to be playing instead of Saxley, I believe, who has been benched out. I'm not too sure what the exact reasoning. Notick have a pretty big roster. They have, I believe, at least 2 subs here between Diggy Dog and Saxley, who's also just chilling out for now. So going into the anti-eco, no special buys coming through from either side, and it will be Avant just on the pistols with the 1 shorty on Lakers.
Yeah, some early aggression here coming out from Kenny, and that's just baited so much attention for Lakers to push up and find himself a 3 kill onto Infrequent with the shorty. Looks like it's just aggression on both extremities, just trying to figure out, get a bit of information. But now Notick have to figure out how to get back into the round.
And Avant slowly leaving A as well. You can see the massive stack up of Avant players over towards B now. Same thing over the Notick side of things with their 4 alive currently. Still got 2 SMGs. And notice, by the way, that Notick only purchased 2 SMGs in this one. 3 players still sitting on Ghosts. Not the best equipment value as the hit does come through.
All the way in they go. Kamzi's trying to lead the charge. Great blind coming out there. Paranoia hits perfectly and reroutes the attack, which are going to be going over towards the boat shed, looking to come in from the stairs instead. They do spot this flank coming through from the back of Market. Double man set up on the back of site. Okay, so Spesh trying to draw the attention, but now both have been seen. The Spectres deal with it effectively, although they're not ready for that second man. Maybe the comms haven't come through, but the frag certainly will, and that is going to be the site found. Now it's up to Lakers with just a shorty to try and get more damage done, and I don't see this one happening.
Lakers would need to find a weapon. There's not too many on the ground here. You'd have to find one of the SMGs, and I don't believe either of them have a drop. No, I lie. No, I don't lie. They, in fact, Pixel would have dropped one. It doesn't really matter. Look, Lakers on just a shorty isn't really going to be able to get in there. And the 2 SMGs plus 1 Ghost will still be up.
That was something. He managed to somehow dodge the vision of the drone and almost sneak up all the way onto, who's that? Sicko playing on the Sova. And yeah, that could have been something. But fortunately for Sicko, he was spotted and dealt with effectively. And anyway, so 3 alive at the end makes the economy look pretty nice.
Right here.
Major, by the way, sticking on to what I would say would be his signature Phoenix at this rate. A lot of OCE teams have been moving towards the breach, but none of that today on this particular map. Pixel, by the way, onto the Sage, something we haven't really mentioned yet, but Sage play rates have been sinking pretty deep down. The fact that Notick is still opting for this one is quite interesting. Speaking of that Sage player, Pixel is picking up a share for this round. Not too much other to work with, though. 2 pistols, 3 SMGs versus everything in terms of 5 rifles on the side of Avant. An early war over towards mid. Doesn't go over it. And it's also going to lock themselves out of any mid control.
Ooh, danger. Both tagged and paranoid, but Noisier does manage to hold the spray to finish off XC. Looking for the 3rd round now and looking for some control at Tree. But Major stops them in their tracks. The Phantom buy is just a little bit too strong. Now, A site has been taken. Looks like we are going to see Avant setting up for the retake. Paranoia used, but no flood off the back of it. Looks like Lakers just going to be trying to find these re-entry frags. Yes, attention of Pixel's going to be over towards Tree, so he goes down for free. No trades coming through. 1 man remaining there at Hell, as Infrequent needs to try to control that spray, but he's only found 1. And now it's all up to the last man here, Kamzi, in this 1-on-3. But he's dealt with effectively. Major, very good effect with the Phantom in this round. He managed to pick up, what, double, triple, I think, in the end?
We good. We good.
And it's going to be able to pick himself the run-it-back ultimate as well. So now AVANT looking pretty strong going to round number 4. 3 rifles still alive. The opportunity to drop the teammates will be there. Double ultimates in play. Lakers probably unlikely to use the Blaze Storm, unless Lakers wants to gift over his rifle, which he might want to do. That would probably be the macro call from my point of view. Otherwise, Spesh does have to drop a gun. Lakers can choose to just use the ult here and give his Vandal over to Watt. They want to be really tight with their money. Speaking of tight with their money, looking over towards Notick side of things, so Frequent is not going to have a gun to work with, but he also does have the Blaze Storm to work with.
Get out of my way!
Let's see. Aggressive play coming out from the defenders over towards the A site, but the same could be said for Notick. They're going to be trying to open up there with the jet, but it looks like it's going to be Lakers falling. So, let's see how Sicko goes. Now trying to find Spesh on the back of site. Last line of defense here over on the B site. Gets the first spot to the spike. Now, the rotations are already all the way across, but there's just enough time here with the cage to get that spike planted. Flank coming in as well from the Phoenix, and it looks like he's going to be left last alive. They seem to be aware of his position, and it's noisier to find himself a triple, big plays, and a teabag to follow up as well.
I know to kind of win this one, I mean, both teams kind of come in with roughly even equipment values. So it is a fairly 50-50 one. You can see the trading of the Blaze Storms nice and early from both the Jet players, but it's going to come down to Notick getting the rest of the kills. Alan Page, 8 in 1 from the Shadows ready as well. Looking over towards the money side of things, that one stinger. It's on the hands of Infrequent. Repurchase maybe. We'll have to look at what Sicko picks up here, because it will still be at least mostly rifles on the side of AVANT, but one Bulldog in hand as well. AVANT really need to be able to look to win this one, otherwise they will be down 1 in 4, but also they'll have a broken buy for the next round as well.
Look at this Lakers playing a very dangerous game here, just hiding in the smoke, waiting. He's refreshed it as well, hoping that someone falls into his trap. Again, there's the Bulldog, and it looks like he's going to play the timing game, finds the first one, but that's all he'll find. You do see Stinger coming through. Pixel gets the res off just in time to bulk the numbers. It's a 2-on-4 now, make it a 2-on-3. Big pick coming out from Kenny, who's going to be dancing around. Wallbang almost finishes him off, but Pixel there from the logs is just too strong of a position. But he's going to be traded out now. Exy needs to try to clutch this. 15 HP to do it.
Spike planted.
Edging forward on the way in, or down to 1. You can't believe it. And it is going to have, what was that, the Sova arrow as well, revealing his position. 2-man peak, just too strong. And that's going to be 4 on the board for Notick.
A very strong start from Notick, and this is the kind of thing we're talking about here in terms of every single team being super competitive. We noted who the favorites are so far, but we've also noted that among the rest of the teams, you know, I secretly had AVANT coming in as probably the number 4 best team, but this kind of performance so far is not really up to scratch. I know we're only 5 rounds in, so definitely not going to call things very early. We've also looked over towards the recent history of AVANT. They want to do better than their recent ROV finish. It's not really ideal. Looking over towards this Invitational now. Got to get the ball rolling a little bit quicker. It is going to be the eco. Not too many weapons to work with yet. Shorty on Lakers again, and only just Watt coming through the ultimate. Spesh will have an ultimate soon as well if he gets one more tick as the wall comes up early in mid.
Here.
You have it, edging across towards short. This is going to be pretty much a 5-on-5 battle at this point. Danger right around the corner. It looks like it's Infrequent who's going to be going in first here. And the shorty gets enough work done, but Pixel straight away follows it with a double. And now that's going to leave both the man advantage here for Notick as they rotate back towards the B site. I believe that pick as well, they realized it was one of the B site players. So they think it's a stack. They're going to be accurate with that assumption, and they should find this site for free.
XT's got to get a gun, though, so we'll see if this becomes workable at all for the side of AVANT. Notice that we are playing on the current patch. That means the economy changes are live. There's no sky, there's no icebox, so don't worry about those two factors being in play. So at this point in time, XT probably thinks heavily about wanting to go in with this play. He'll want to go in. Doesn't see anyone early, though. Pixel takes down Major. That's the gun gone now. 1 alive. It comes down to Spesh in a 1v4. Spesh will get the gun hand me down from XT. But this situation is a little bit too difficult, and technically, I know what everyone's thinking. If you save, you're going to get the 1k, but also if you save, you do get the gun, which is worth 2,900, and technically that is pretty high value. He can use that 1k to get himself full armor next round, and he's going to do just that.
All right, so some of the changes. We'll finally get to see them in work. Anyway, we'll see what what ends up here? Looks like Notick. They're happy to keep their own economy stable, not go for the hunt, not lose any more weapons. They don't want to risk it. And they're happy just to take the round with them. So that's going to be 5-1 now as we head into the 7th. Notick off to a very strong start here on Ascent.
They're about to confirm 6 as well. This is going to be a pivotal round. Lakers has finally got the operator in hand there. That 5k purchase, light armor. Not too much else to play with. A lot of money on the side of Notick. Just look at their bank right now. Frequent after he picks up. He can actually go for an operator himself, but operating on the offense usually not as popular as the defense here, so we'll just go towards the rifle. This is already becoming an almost must-win round for AVANT. I do fear if they lose this one, the half will go towards the side of Notick, and here we go, straight on to B.
Lake is in a good position. That hand actually baits out the shot there. Kamzi, accidental genius. Now, Cage's in the way, but Lake is playing very aggressively, and he's going to be dealt with. I think it was the ice wall over through the window, and that was just enough to open up the site. So, operator out of the picture, as well as the B site found. That was a perfect take coming out from Notick, and AVANT just unable to answer at the moment.
AVANT need to go for exits here. They need to do something about this round. They can cover all the different exits between Major, looking over towards B main. You got 2 more players that can look towards market and also defensive spawn as well. Between the 3 of them, they can ensure a lot of guns do get dropped on the floor. I mean, technically this ends up being a save, but you want to make it costly at least for Notick, who at this stage of the game are just walking away with too much in the economy right now. So 3 guns are going to be carried over for the teammates that do lose their lives here between the Lakers and also EXO. They only get the 1k, so Lakers will be sitting at just 1,000. EXO will get 1,600, and neither player will have enough to buy in the next round.
I need to point out that I haven't seen a lot of Sage gameplay for a while, ever since the nerf. So
yeah.
I didn't sort of realize that it was even in the server until that point. And you can see that AVANT as well, caught off guard. Probably haven't seen that play happen for a little while now. Haven't seen the wall up through the window, because not a lot of people pick Sage in this day and age. And Pixel certainly making the most of what he's got.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is the stage now where you look at 6-1. Pixel's got himself the resurrection in play as well. We got a very broken economy situation for the side of AVANT. Like I said, 2 players are not going to be able to buy guns into this one. Unless, of course, maybe Special drops something down. And so I think there'll be the 1 extra gun being dropped over. So maybe 4 rifles at best for AVANT going into this next round. And look, if Notick win this one, it's going to be 7-1, and they've won the half of that.
So they're trying to have a bit of a battle through the wall there. From mid to market. Wall in the middle. Used early this time from Pixel just to allow himself up. I think he's over the top there. He certainly is right up on the top. Just full control of mid, hoping that this rotation comes through. And it will. And that is a free pick. So Pixel, big brain in it. Major, not expecting it. And that's going to be the opener.
Pixel, the Pixel shot there. And that's the real value of Sage, by the way, if anyone's wondering why I play Sage on this map. It's to do stuff like that. Get some really interesting headshot angles. You see the same one over towards B main as well. So it goes down, but we talked about the res being in play. Hunter's Fury now to try and challenge that. I think the Hunter's Fury has been used a little bit too late, so this one just gets sent straight into the wind. Maybe tags up 1 player. Opportunity for Lakers, but with the shots, that's going to allow Pixel to walk away free.
Got close, but no cigar that time as the rotation comes back
30
over
seconds
towards B main. 30-second mark hits now as they try to edge their way in, and that's going to be EXO finding one as the smoke starts to bloom. Spike on the ground, but Watt's position has been spotted. Cam comes in just in time, so that's going to be a bit of a nuisance as well as the time is ticking down. Nice pick coming out from Watt, but EXO's here. Needs to try to stop that spike from going down, from being planted, but it looks like it's going to be too little too late, and he has to do it all himself. First found, 15 HP to play with. Gets that reload off, but his position is known. Just tries to play with the camera quickly. Sova in the corner. Sicko. Is he in the perfect spot? Will he be checked? EXO clearing those corners, and he'll have the advantage with the peak there. 4K coming out for EXO to find AVANT's second round.
Well done by EXO to check those corners as well. At that stage in the game, you do have to consider that Sicko could be anywhere. He could be backside. He could be hiding somewhere out of reach of EXO, and that is a very nice 1v1 situation. In fact, EXO wins a 1v2, ends up being a clutch, ends up being a very important round for AVANT to prevent the 7 from being confirmed on the side of Notick over here, who are still stuck at 6 for now, but their money situation is looking great. Kamzi, as you saw, had 9k still in the bank. So We're not really hurting for EXO. And this is going to be the one for Lakers now to decide what he wants to do. It will just be the Blaze Storm for this particular round. Infrequent, however, just on towards the Stinger.
Oh, big paranoia to kick this off though, but it goes both ways, and it looks like we're going to fight fire with fire. Infrequent tries to jump away. He's already popped the ulti, and he still has it. He survives. He has Calmsy there to cover for him. Now it looks like Kenny's going to be trying to get away to safety, just barely does. Wall comes up, but Kenny might have Pixel's number this time. However, Pixel knows that he's been spotted, so we are going to see the rotation back through mid, and no knives are going to land. Well, not enough anyway. Lakers, he's going to fall. Tripwire at least get some information. Spesh doesn't allow Infrequent back towards mid, but the rest of the troops for Notick all the way on the A side already.
It's an important trade, but Infrequent only had the Blaze Storm anyway, didn't actually have a gun there. Pixel with the opportunity does get the one kill into Spesh. Traded by EXO now as well. Nerf committed into this play. So the rest of Notick have been revealed. This is going to be an interesting retake coming through from AVANT. They have a bit of a crossfire setup. Notice that there could be someone playing over towards Shan. Sees the shoulder. That's going to be another kill as well. Last player in hell. And Comes is on 40 HP. EXO knows where it is. EXO gets that kill. 3 kills for EXO in this particular round. That EXO right now, top of the leaderboard, is going to be able to get the defuse.
A big round for EXO too. Back-to-back clutches. Just taking it for AVANT at the moment. So, you know, Ascent, I wouldn't say it's necessarily this heavily attacker-sided, but Notick have really been reading the map well, and the rotations of AVANT. But it looks like AVANT might be able to at least tie this one up, heading towards the end of the half. You can see the economy, it's there for maybe, or it will be there for another bite into the next round at least, but maybe towards the pointy end, it will be a little easier. There might be a save or two coming out from Notick, but AVANT, they need to make these rounds, I guess, less close, more convincing.
Well, they need to get the rounds first of all. They've only managed to get the 2 rounds slowly in the past 2 that we have seen. Otherwise, it's been mostly Notick. There was also that 3rd round being confirmed coming through from AVANT, but that's that 3rd round that you do expect the team with the buys to be able to win. It's been pretty hatchy in terms of where AVANT have found their success. So first step would be able to at least get something in there. By the way, you notice over towards mid-map, Pixel's already made it over the wall. So it's not just peering over the wall now. He's actually put himself directly in the position of mid. So it's going to be very annoying to deal with, as there will be a trap wire he will have to get past, and it does get destroyed. That will give some information over to AVANT.
A good attempt though. He was trying to follow that drone in, but use it as a bit of information gathering as he pushed through the smokes. But looks like he's going to regroup with the rest of the troops. A split should be on the cards, unless there's some overextension in one regard or another from AVANT at the moment. Looks like we're going to see Spesh in a good position to try and deny the cross, but the smokes are. So he's just having to go off the back of sound to try to get those kills. Unfortunately, reveals his position, and he's going to go down through Sins.
Losing Spesh here is really big, because now you don't have the Sova using all the recon bolts to be able to reveal the locations. Pixel, all interesting position over towards Glass, gets 1 kill but doesn't see what. Just pulling one through now, an extra for AVANT to try and get this retake underway. They don't want to save if they can help it. They want to go in the 3v4. They will have to deal with the Hunter's Fury eventually. 2 players in hell, 2 players offsite towards A main, 1 down now. EXO has fallen, and a 2v4 that does not really look workable.
Yeah, at this point it looks like it's too little too late. Major's going to be spotted there by the dart, and it's all up to what to try to save anything, maybe get an exit, and that could be on the cards. No, he's just going to send his way back in it to the defender spawn, and it looks like it's a gentleman's agreement, but 4 alive again. And this is just a devastating half at the moment for AVANT. Notick, look, we didn't say they were the favourites coming into this, but it looks like a couple of these roster changes are just looking damn good.
You look at the economy situation as well. Despite Watt being able to save there, he's only got the 1k from saving. The rest of his team, they reset the loss bonus. I mean, you win 2 rounds in a row, you then lose, you're back onto a 1900. We're heading towards the end of the half now, and for a 4-8 result to even come through for AVANT would be a bit of a stretch now. They know that's why they're forcing into this round. They're going balls to the walls here because they know they have to get some rounds on the board before it's all over. 2 more rounds to go. They can't afford to eco. They just have to try and go for it.
Straight out in mid again. Confidence everywhere at the moment for Notick because everything's working. There's going to be the first pick of the round. Straight through the smoke, over to short. Major pops the run it back to try to at least get some information. Manages to get a single kill, but it looks like, well, Pixel's 1 point off that res anyway, so if they can get that orb in B main, if it hasn't already been taken, there's a chance to get the res off for the round. And that res will be in a pretty safe position, all things considered.
They got to go now, though. The issue is it's going to take them a while to get there. They have to get the orb, then they have to double back over towards the body. And by that time, I mean, how much do we have left? And that is going to be the strategy, Max. So well read, but as we start getting into this position, Pixel's going to even just fake the wall over just to bring a little bit of attention. You can start to see that AVANT at this stage have moved 3 people. What's going to see it, though? So well played by AVANT to have the heads up to maybe see the rotations coming in. And by the time the res comes through, it's going to be down to 30 seconds. So this is my worry for Notick, because now they just have to go for this.
Oh, and that was it. Lakers was playing so close to be main. You heard all those rotations happen. So the A site was stacked with this little time remaining. Major. Oh, a bit of a major mistake from him. Unfortunately, couldn't find himself a kill. But it's going to be only a single on the site. So XE needs to go big in this position. Maybe buy some time for the rotations to come through, but just unfortunately can't win that engagement. Will win one on Pixel as he fades back into tree, but he was spotted there. Just the dart from the drone a little bit too much, and the Hunter's Fury essentially finishing what the drone started, but a solid crossfire under hell should secure the round from this point. Let's see what he can do. Hands on the Vandal. No information other than on the Sober's position. It's going to be Sicko peeking at the perfect moment to pick up the final kill of the round. 8 on the board for Notick. A solid attacking half so far. And even if they don't take this final round of the half, I feel like they've already done their job.
But they will take the final round of the half here, Mac. That's a spoiler I got ahead for us, because it's not going to be a pretty buy coming through at all for AVANT. They've also spent ultimate, so Major, the runner back, is gone. That was used the previous round to try and bring things into bear. Lakers as well in that previous round of the retake went for the 50-50, checked above, did not check below. And unfortunately for him, both the players still alive were definitely below, in towards hell. Let's see if the Marshal works out for Lakers, because this buy is going to be super awkward. There won't be full utility. There certainly won't be full armor. Certainly isn't going to be full weapons across the page as well. So for Notick, 9-3 would be the expectation.
All the way in to a free site. Looks like the retake setup is what we're going to see. XE puts down a cage to try to beat it. Manages to sneak his way to Boathouse, but Pixel has eyes on the prize and it doesn't allow him any map control at all. So it looks like Notick, they're just getting every advantage possible for the final round. Warbang's coming through, hitting the mark as well. Lakers, he's lost almost all his armor, and they're running out of time as the spikes planted as well. What doesn't get the paranoia on the right position? Everything's going wrong at the moment for AVANT, and Lakers is unable to salvage. They're just going to be running at the final man special. Cannot do a thing, and we're going to have a 9-3 half.
And this is really telling so far between this, this matchup between these two sides, because on one hand you could say, okay, well, the economy changes are definitely screwing AVANT a little bit here in terms of being behind here. Their money hasn't been great. They've just been snowballed by Notick, who have been winning, but at the same time as well, very small, minute, micro differences. It even comes down to stuff like what, just missing the paranoia. Like, that's not something you can afford to do. The paranoia just whiffs across. I mean, half of it doesn't even, enter B main. It just doesn't touch Pixel at all. That's something that I can't afford to do. That's something that for a team like AVANT, they can't afford to be missing stuff like that either. So situations where, unfortunately, they should be maybe able to get small victories. They're not quite getting those. They're definitely not getting the big victories either. 6 rounds behind. This pistol round is going to be a must-win coming through for AVANT, and that would only get the train rolling.
Shadows traveling.
Straight into the pistol we go. This time, AVANT have the chance to be on the attacking side. It looks like they're going to be going straight up mid. 3 players into market already. Slow comes out a little bit late, but Lakers good D for the moment. Calmsy with a double on the entry, and this is looking good. Nice shots coming out from Pixel there to find the wallbang onto Lakers, and we're in a 2-on-3 situation as Spesh finds one himself.
2 alive now. Look, XE's been pretty phenomenal in some of these late rounds. We've seen him get some nice kills. We'll see a 1-player Pixel moving back towards the side of A, and this is when the exit comes through for AVANT. Where do you want to go now, fellas? 60 seconds remaining, counting down. Bit of a spread default coming through from the Notick defense as well. Notice that, by the way, on this new patch, the colors are swapped. So, I mean, Sicko and his team are still going to be on red despite being on the defense. Now the rotation's going to come on through for the 3v2 retake.
Oh, nice shot coming out from Spesh, and that's going to be the equalizer. Both players retaking from heaven, but it's just a matter of time, and it's a pretty good bait and peek setup. There we are, Spesh with the final information on the final player. Half HP for him. Dart comes out, but Calmsy cannot get too much done. XE will finish him Kamsi, look, it was a solid start to the round, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough to finish. But there it is, AVANT. They take the pistol, and this is their chance to get back into the game.
Yeah, for me, that really comes down to Kamsi being the big playmaker there, gets multi-frags on that pistol. That's exactly what you want to see. Really shuts down that offense coming through from AVANT. This is now dire straits. I mean, I hate to call it early here, Mac, but really you look at this situation, you look at the fact that it's 9-4. The pistol's been gone the way of... actually, who won that pistol? Oh, no, I lie. AVANT actually won that pistol. So there's a bit more of a chance now coming on through. I'm going to give AVANT a little bit more of a bone here because winning the pistol is going to give them just that little bit extra now.
Let's see where they end up. Back to mid they go. Mid control, obviously, one of the more important places to try to, I guess, control the ebbs and flows of Ascent. But as you can see, up cat they go. It looks like it's going to be straight into the two-man stack. Shorty in the corner for Infrequent, and he's going to be allowed to edge forward. Oh, what's going on with that smoke? Is that intentional?
No, that would have been a mistake for sure. It's misplaced into the ground, so just sinks down. I mean, it could be intentional, but it really doesn't do much. It'll give you a tiny head glitch. It's not really a head glitch either because your body is still kind of exposed there. The smoke's not going to block damage. This is going to be where now AVANT want to make their way through market. They're already in. That's going to be a kill for Allen Page coming through from Spesh Major. And Spesh for a second here as well. 2 alive now for the side of Notick. Have to try and come in for this retake, but AVANT are just going to shut them down. What for a second kill?
Yeah, what on the lurk. Nice little spray transfer with the Spectre. And it was enough not only to farm up some cash, but get another on the board. Now, Notick only with a 4-round lead, but this is the round where they can try to take that control back. They do have all the rifles in play, whereas you can see over on the AVANT camp, they've got 2 Vandals, 3 Spectres, not a whole lot other than that. So firepower definitely favoring Notick in this round.
That goes there.
This third round is the all-important one as well. This is the one where things will be truly tested. And typically, AVANT would not be favored to win this round. In fact, they're definitely not favored in terms of equipment value. This is at round 3 for the losing team to finally pick up guns. However, AVANT kind of do need to win this one. 5-10 won't feel quite comfortable. Spesh will take a little bit of damage coming through from the shock bolt. Look to return the favor pretty soon as well. Massive stack coming through from AVANT on towards the A side of things. Bit of a lurk over towards tree as well. On short for EXO, so we'll end up being an A split fairly soon.
Infrequent dangerously pushing forward there, but manages to risk it for the biscuit. Good bit of map control as XC just dances around on short. Looks like we are going to see a slow rotation after that execute. It's batted out a lot of utility from the Notick side as they start to head back up cat. Looks like the book might have been read though. You got Pixel who jump spotting here at mid. He's actually gone up on the wall, so it's a nice little vantage point to peek through in case mid is the position they go for, but it certainly is not for the moment. Back to short, flash in, Infrequent, jumps away to safety, tries to spray through, and we'll find 1, so at least they'll have the man advantage for the retake, make it 2. And they're happily just going to be playing for the retake here, as the spike gets planted on the A side.
Well, they got 5 alive, though. I think that's the major thing here to consider. 5v3. 2 players over towards short as well. 1 down early, and Frequent's got 4 kills! Frequent will be pinching up to the ace here. There's still a lot of players alive. Was by himself. Will be able to get a kill, and Sicko cleans him up. No ace for the side of Infrequent on Notick, but they will get the round, and that's a little bit more important. 4 alive as well. Plenty of guns. And that's exactly what you want to see from Notick to keep the lead moving forward. It is a somewhat expected round loss for AVANT. Again, they come into that all-important third round as a team that had won both the pistol and the anti-eco, so they do come in with a bit of a disadvantage. However, from here on out, it needs to be fairly perfect gameplay coming through from AVANT because trailing by 5, it's not going to take too much effort for the side of Notick to start hitting, you know, the 11, the 12, and the match point here. And that's really where the cricket's going to crumble. So for AVANT, they need to stop the bleeding early.
It's crazy how much work Pixel's been doing, not only in the first half, but even here in the second. Being the Sage player, you wouldn't expect him to be the top frag. You'd expect the Duelist to be taking a lot more of those fights, but it seems like the agent of choice doesn't play too much of a factor of how good you are at aiming that weapon. Now as we head into the next, another very important round for Notick if they want to be closing this one out early. Don't give any momentum at all to AVANT. Best of one. Every round's important here.
Notick have the buffer to play with, though. They can afford to lose a couple of rounds here. Not too many. You don't want to give the opportunity for AVANT to make a comeback. And for AVANT, that's exactly what they're looking for here. You see the wall being placed in spawn, by the way. That's another wall just for Pixel to look over into mid to see if he can find any heads. Speaking of finding heads, Major won't get it, but he'll get the body shots instead. Frequent's down. Super quick to confirm a 5v4 advantage.
Careful.
About 40 seconds left to play here. They know that one player over towards A is down. In response, Pixel's going to move over, and the default will end up being a 2-and-2. Sicko pulls one through as well, and a couple of low players for Notick, but one heal should be there. Unless it was used earlier. If that was used earlier, now you got two players on the side of Notick on critical HP.
It looks like he's not being healed up, so that seems to be the case. And Noisier in a solid position here at Market. Throws out a Paranoia to try and slow down the push and help out the player there on site, who's going to be last line of defense. Kamzi not spotted, though. 10 seconds. Couldn't find the second, so still time for the spike to be planted. But it is going to be Noisier coming in just in the nick of time, finding himself not only a triple kill, but yet another round. And that's two more that need to be won before Notick take this first map, this first game, rather, of their group stage.
Sicko and Pixels on a critical HP, one shot away. They survive that situation. Rebuys are going to come in. And this is where, if you're AVANT, I mean, start forcing up. If you don't force up this round, you give 12 over to Notick. At that point, it's basically GG. You have to be forcing every single round now. That's exactly what they're going to be doing. This is the old control that I remember when they're back in that control lineup. They're forcing as much as they can. So trying to play into the situation. Nice early pick on a Frequent, just to keep the numbers in their favor.
Looks like it's just going to be a battle here at mid.
Enemy down.
Seems like everyone wants the bit of control, pushing straight in. But it looks like we're back to a 2-on-2. So, from here, with a minute and 20 remaining, everything slows down. Sicko, he wants the information, knowing that there's at least one player at mid, but he's going to give his life for it. Sharp shots from Exy to find the headshot and the A site. They're just going to take the gamble, running in with a minute remaining, knowing that the last remaining player, Kamzi, over here in Market, is that B-site player and should be quite far away.
So see how the post one's going to be handled here for AVANT. They can go for a crossfire if they play one person in A main, one person in Hell, but it seems like they're just going to be stacking up together in Hell for now. And Kamzi's been spotted. Oh my goodness, he's going to take a lot of damage through the floorboards as well, but now he knows where the players are. If you're taking damage from floorboards, you know players are in Hell, so he'll try and respond. Limited time to work with. You need to isolate kills here. Who's going to be up first? Tries to go for what? Loose the duel. That's going to be the 2v1 found and a 6th round for AVANT now on the Force.
That was a really solid decision from AVANT. After going for the pre-fire, they know that the dart had been taken out, so they moved from Hell and held that crossfire from not only the stairs or the steps, whatever you want to call them, up to Heaven, as well as in the corner next to Jen. So really solid positioning, or repositioning rather, to secure yet another round. And I'm liking, like, it, even though the scoreline is 11-6, I'm really liking what AVANT are doing. You can see that they have some really solid teamwork, really solid defensive setups, or offensive setups rather, depending on how you look at it, in the post plant. And yeah, can't wait to see more.
I'm not too sure if Notick are maybe on an eco here. Quite good to take a look at the guns. There is going to be a Sheriff coming through, Spectre as well. So at minimum, maybe a half buy, it looks like, for Notick coming into this round. It is going to be a much better round overall for the side of, I would say, AVANT here, who, like I said, there nearly came through with some shots, but doesn't quite pass the middle floorboards over towards ramparts, over towards the A short area. Major wants to run in with the runner back, but everyone's just going to leave that area, so he won't find anything either.
I think he might have heard some footsteps, but that was about all the information that he got, other than no one was at tree at that point. It looks like the rest of the boys just going to be grouping up, sending it in through tree at some point. Could just be the entry through switch as per usual. And over in the corner, there's only one player here now. As you can see, Sicko managed to find one fully blinded, so not a terrible situation considering he couldn't see a thing. Infrequent now.
I know it's
trying to edge his way back in, and nice headshot, wants some more. Flash, and just barely survives on 68, finds himself the upgrade. There's Lakers as well dancing around here at Heaven. Knows that Pixel's going to be close and coming around the corner. Big wide swing to find the headshot. And some more continues going. Now it's only going to be a 1-on-3. Reds coming in as well to try to secure it. This is going to be so hard to deal with now. It looks like Major has to try to fight around default, and he does almost clutch it. What was that? 3 quick ones. Kamzi on the trade to make the clutch happen. The res so crucial there. Without it, the round would have been lost for Notick, but 12 goes up on the board.
And that's the crazy thing, because the res shouldn't have actually been put in there. You should be able to win a 1v3 or rather a 3v1. I don't really understand what happened there. I mean, you have Notick just walking in one by one. They're losing their damn minds on that particular play. So at the end of that, you end up being correct there, Mac. The resurrection to make sure the last player comes in to be able to secure a 1v1, but it shouldn't even get that far. It should never get to the position where in a 4 versus 1, it's the last guy that gets the kill. So Major nearly pulls it in. 6-12, though. Things are looking pretty dire now for the side of AVANT. They need to win every single round, and that's going to be a tall order.
As you can see on the Intel replay as well, the quick 2K coming in from Pixel, which allowed him to have enough points to get that res off, was so crucial, so instrumental, not only in the match, but in that round. Now, into what could potentially be the final round, we got a bit of a tag. Hunter's Fury coming in, looking to try to deal with him early. Connects enough for some damage, but not able to deal with that market player. Now, it's going to be Lakers trying to attack here all the way in. Trying to knife his way to victory over the top. Misses the right click, goes for the classic instead. Right click burst is enough to get another, and that's going to be a man advantage now, as we do see AVANT just trying to head towards the B site. Kamzi making a bit of noise. Warning shots, if you will. He does have Pixel here to play with. He's going to be hidden right under the ledge. Solid position as always. Thinking on the contact, you shouldn't be able to hold this. No. Okay, great shots from Pixel. And that's going to be a quick double. Slows as well to buy some extra time for these rotations to come through. And has to dance up on the wall. He's going to be playing there. Oh, he's spotted though. Awkward angles for him to play around. He's just making it up as he goes, it seems, but there's no time for him to plant lineups there. Hunter's Fury as well. He's tagged it. This should be it. No tick. One Hunter's Fury away from the win. They're not going to be able to connect. It's Major to fall, and there it is. 13-6 at the time. Absolutely beautifully played. And what do you know? So Notick end up taking the victory over AVANT, which I was not expecting at all going into today's matchup.
Absolutely not. I mean, Pixel really came through big as well. That's not a player on that particular role that I thought was going to be able to make that much impact. Sage, as you sort of mentioned as we walked over that particular round as well, is a very rare pick currently in this particular meta. He drops 25. So that is a phenomenal performance. He's doubled almost everyone else on the... In fact, he has doubled everyone else on the other team, roughly. I mean, technically Lakers with a double would have been 26, but, you know, small details here. He's got 10 more than the rest of his teammates as well. The Sage, I don't know if it's the Sage or the player, probably a mix of both here. Probably also due to the fact that AVANT a little bit unprepared against some of the Sage shenanigans in terms of the wall boosting. And Notick, 13-6, I got to say, is a very confident win, a very convincing win.
Sorry, just trying to sort something out real quickly.
I'm with you there, mate. All good.
Anyway, great match, all things considered. The fact that Pixel, I did not expect Pixel to be the top fragger in this situation, but he was. He did a very good job. Infrequent, sharp couple of shots as well. Look, you've probably got a weird picture of my face at the moment. I'm
loving it.
Just slowly trying to deal with it, remembering
that's the Tune Squad mascot right there.
Wait, I know where it is. I'm just being a silly bugger. All right, here we go. And he's in. He's back. Sure. So, hello.
What I got to say about that map as well
here
is,
we go. Hey,
looking over towards this group.
Welcome.
I mean, between AVANT, Notick, and Kanga, to be fair, not to speak ill against them, but Order are the favorites in Group B right now. So if you're Notick, AVANT, Kanga, you're playing for second in this group unless you can upset Order. The fact that Notick already has an advantage over AVANT, who, you know, we're probably maybe the next favorite on paper after Order, that does disrupt the rankings a little bit here. Notick off to a great start. Very confident showing. If they can get past Kanga as well, even if they lose to Order, Notick should be able to secure minimum second.
Yeah, and look, the fact that there was only 6 rounds won there, you had Lakers, 6 first bloods coming out for AVANT. There was a huge amount of, I guess, entries and just not capitalized, or not enough capitalized rounds. They got 8 first bloods in all, so that means that a lot of those, or 2 of those rounds, they still managed to win, or Notick rather managed to win. They brought it back. A couple of crazy plays. The fact that Major didn't win that round where he got the quick triple and the res seemed to be the difference maker And from there, I think there was only the one round after, and then that was the game. But there was a chance. There was a huge chance for AVANT to come back into that game. And that loss is going to be so crucial for them because you would expect them to be in that top 2 for this group. But now losing to Notick, who you thought, there was a chance, maybe not a large chance, but
Technically,
they got
I
this
did it,
dub.
but
Yeah, technically. Well, anyway,
no.
this is the situation where it starts to set up for the tiebreaker, which we were talking about.
Yeah, it's a bit of a callback. I said on the podcast not that long ago, I didn't think Notick had a chance. To be fair, the reason I said that was because they had 3 people on their roster when I looked at it. That's not a lot to work with, and Notick have done reasonable in the past tournaments. I mean, maybe I should have given them a bit more of a chance considering Avant did worse, but that's the result that we see now. Avant will fall to Notick. That's maybe expected for some people, unexpected for others here. I am impressed by what I saw overall. It's hard to say in best of ones. I mean, you do have to take everything with a grain of salt. In best of threes, that's kind of where your medal is truly tested. In the best of one here, I mean, anything can happen. I think this is the kind of room and the kind of space now where you need to make sure you're good at the single maps. You're good in the best of ones. You can come through big, and perhaps the Sage catches Avant off guard. But if that's the case, if Sage does catch Avant off guard, then you're going to use that to your full potential, and that's how you're going to get the win.
And look, going into the next matchup of the day, that's my pick for banger. But this was a solid one to start it. I didn't think that this would be. Well, it's 16. It's 13-6 rather. I thought that it would be more one-sided than this, or at least even though it wasn't. I guess it's decisive in that Notick won a lot of rounds, but a lot of those rounds came down to one-on-ones, very close clutches, and it could have gone either way in a lot of those rounds as well, and we could still be casting. However, it is going to be the banger. It's going to be EXO and Legacy next, right? So that one's coming up after a short break. I believe they might still be in their first games. But we have about a 10-minute break, so ladies and gentlemen, don't go too far, and we will see you soon with match number 2 of the day.
If lag's ruining your online gaming, it's time to do something about it with Game Path. By using machine learning and accessing hundreds of points of presence, it ensures your game's data is always on the fastest path available. That means with Game Path, lag is typically reduced by 30%, as well as improving the overall stability and smoothness of the game. Game Path, just $10 a month for our fastest, smoothest gaming connection. Begin your 1-month free trial today. It starts with yes.
Get elite real-world performance for your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors. If you're looking to game, create, live stream, or stay productive, 10th Gen Intel Core processors deliver an optimal balance of frequency, cores, and threads to handle real-world usages. Get enthusiast-level performance with an Intel Core i9 processor, up to 5.3 GHz clock speed for peak gaming performance and content creation workloads. Or for competitive gameplay and content creation, choose an Intel Core i7 with up to 5.1 GHz clock speed to handle your demanding applications. The Intel Core i5 processor with up to 4.8 GHz gives you a seamless AAA gaming and entertainment experience. And with up to 4.6 GHz clock speed, the Intel Core i3 is a great fit for everyday tasks and productivity. If you're looking to push your system even further, get additional performance headroom with unlocked 10th Gen Intel Core processors, supported by Intel's advanced overclocking controls. Bring elite, real-world performance to your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors.
ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the second matchup of the day. It's going to be Legacy taking on EXO. And look, so both those other games ended up being 13-10 affairs after our great game that we managed to have as well. Obviously, Notick getting the win there. So at the moment, Notick and Order both on top of that Group B. Order obviously taking out Kanga 13-3. So that was a walloping. But over in Group A, which is where we're about to head, we're about to have a look at Legacy and EXO. EXO 1-0, so they managed to win 13-10 over the top of Rip and Tear, who apparently were up at some point and almost managed to cause the upset there. And then Legacy also lost to Mindfreak 13-10. So EXO and Mindfreak at the moment, both tied completely head-to-head at the top in terms of round difference. Obviously, they haven't played one another yet. But Legacy losing there, I don't think that's unexpected, but we were both surprised to see that result. And I had a quick peek at the scoreboard. Looks like both, I think it was Swirl and Signed, absolutely popped off in that game. So 24-15, 22-13 respectively. So they had some huge performances and looks like they were the answer to Legacy.
And I mean, we'll talk about that in more depth because Legacy are coming up next in terms of what we're casting as well. And I'm debating in my mind right now, is this an upset? Is it not an upset? I mean, you can argue either way because technically on paper, I think it's an on-paper upset. You look at the strength of the Legacy roster in terms of who they have playing on there. It's pretty much a stacked roster in terms of talent. But at the same time, we've also noted in the pre-show here, Mac, that of the Legacy players, plenty of them have either had, minimal experience in Valorant. They're pretty fresh coming from CS, or they've taken a bit of a break from Valorant as well, in the case of Dioxide. So you can make the other argument the other way, where MF come in a lot more fresh. MF have been playing together for a little bit longer. They've had arguably, debatably, roster upgrades as well. And now the fact that they beat Legacy, now the fact that MF have also done well in other tournaments, MF have also had a bit of an upgraded roster. That looks really strong for MF, and there's definitely a world where you can see this being a win for MF, and it wouldn't be that surprising. And now you do read into the result a little bit more, and I think we are in that world. But Legacy are going to be facing up against EXO pretty soon in our next matchup, which means really it's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, and EXO also not winning as convincingly as we thought in their matchup either. So Rip and Tear, apparently, while that game was on, I had someone in my ear say, hey, Rip and Tear might be beating EXO. And I was like, yes, look, I told the boys you can do it. And I thought that they were. And EXO ended up bringing it back and closing it out at the end. So expected that they did get that W on the board, but now going into this matchup, Legacy off the back of that loss, maybe not performing as strong as we thought they were today, and EXO feeling pretty good as well, or maybe not feeling good, depending on how they deal with that Rip and Tear matchup.
It will depend. I mean, let's take a look at EXO as well. This is a team that, like you mentioned, just beat Rip and Tear 13-10 for a bit of extra context. Technically, they did lead Rip and Tear in that first half 8-4. It's that second half that Rip and Tear started to bring a few rounds back, 6, in fact, to make sure that 10 was on the ball there. Dizzy Life being the Jet player. I think Dizzy so far been one of the top performing players in the entire region. Certainly, I think, in my opinion, the top performing player on the team. Rounding out the team is going to be Plex Crunchy and Bob and Iron as well. Iron, their IGL, who was second top fragger in that particular game versus Rip and Tear on Bind at 19-18. So the Cypher player now really coming up and during a meta, by the way, where Cypher has been nerfed. So that's really impressive coming through from Iron. And EXO now get to go up against Legacy, which is, I think, kind of our marquee matchup for the day. You could maybe look towards Order AVANT as well. It'll be pretty exciting. But based on what we just saw from AVANT, it will be a really tough one for them later on. For now, though, EXO fresh off a win, Legacy fresh off a loss. See if Legacy can pull through now off their brand new roster of Ferg, Dioxide, Gazer, Panic, and Zinkoko.
Yeah, and look, coming into this off the loss, they're obviously looking to get a bit of revenge. Ferg, the Oxide, Gaza, Pan, and Zinkoko. Zinkoko had a bit of a rough game looking at the score, whereas the rest of the boys sort of all put their hand in, playing relatively well, maybe not up to what you would expect. But obviously, when Swell and Sign get going, it's really hard to stop them. So they felt the full force of that dream team, the newbies there going over to Mindfreak, rather. But look, and then even that game later, that'll be a banger. Now I look at it. But Order, 13-3, winning that game. They are coming in with a vengeance. They're looking to take out the tournament. They're looking to close these out quickly. But let's talk more about this. You got Legacy, you got EXO, and head-to-head, I feel like EXO, it should be a pretty clean victory after what Legacy was doing before, what they did in the last game. But I'm keen to get in the server with them. I'm keen to see exactly what we are going to be playing on, which I believe has just come in. So I'm just going to grab that. It is Ascent. So there you go. So we've got another Ascent game back to back. That's pretty sick. And so far, look, that was actually another stat we saw before. So all games so far have been played on completely different maps. So there was one Ascent, one Bind, one Haven, one Split. Obviously, Icebox is not going to be played in this tournament. So you won't be seeing that. But look, pretty good map, all things considered. Although some people probably have different opinion on that one. I was hoping to be in the tournament so we could see the meta start to evolve, but it's competitive
Early
integrity.
days, early
Too
days.
early, yeah, very early days. There's probably going to be maybe map updates, maybe, who knows. Riot does some crazy things sometimes, don't they?
Sky also disabled for this tournament as well, by the way. So for anyone curious, we are, of course, on the live patch 1.11. So all the other changes in terms of the Killjoy Cypher nerfs are in play. The economy changes. We've already seen some economy changes really impact the game. I mean, looking through, I can only theorycraft on some of how the rounds went for the other games that we didn't see. But on stream here, we definitely saw a situation where AVANT, once they started losing, I mean, it's tough to bounce back. If you try and save a gun, you don't get as much money now. You can't reliably drop the teammates. It just means, in my opinion, at least, that the losing team is definitely down in the dumps a little bit more than on previous patches. So there's a lot more pressure and onus on teams to try and get an early lead. I think the first 5 rounds, you can even say the first 3 rounds, are super important now. Getting a nice lead early on is going to basically win you that half, and we've seen plenty of times now if you look through the different maps that have already been played so far in the tournament across all the other community streams as well. The team that gets the early lead snowballs pretty hard in the first half, and I don't believe we've had any like majorly close halves. It's usually a bit of a blowout, and then the second half maybe you see a bit more of a comeback. So let's see how these two teams now navigate Ascent. As we start loading in, it is, of course, Legacy versus EXO. I think both teams have not actually played this map so far this tournament. EXO versus Rip and Tear was on Bind, and what was Legacy's game on? Legacy versus Mind Freak was on Split. So neither team has played Ascent in this tournament yet.
All right, so it looks like we may be getting in very shortly, but for now, what do you think? Who do you think is going to take this? If you had to predict, which way do you see this one going?
Yeah, look, I'll preface this by saying, after already getting a prediction wrong today, that best of ones can definitely go either way. That's the nature of best of ones. It is going to be whoever shows up. I've talked to her about the fact that early round leads are going to be super important for snowballing. So the early game team here is going to do much better. I do think, however, that Legacy copping a loss versus MF and EXO getting a win off of Rip and Tear with a little bit more momentum behind them, that also being the fact that EXO Clan are the defending Ignition Series champions, would give them a bit of an edge. So if I had to pick a team, I'm still going with EXO for now. We'll have to see how Legacy shape up.
I feel like I'm going to go for the underdog. I'm going to go and predict Legacy. I feel like
not that much of an underdog, though, are they?
Nah, they're not. But, they've got a point to prove after losing that initial game, which everyone thought that they should have won. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people thought that they should have won. Everyone had high hopes for the team. It looks like we're straight into the pistol again. 30 seconds have passed, and we are seeing, looks like Legacy are on the defense, at least for the start here. And Spike's planted on the B side, looking to make their way back in. Dizzy gets rid of the boombot quickly, hides in the corner. Clicks trying to get a bit of map. Troggers forward, the perfect timing is Zenkoko trying to pull out his drone or something. And he's going to chase this kill down. Oh my god, that was very unfortunate for Deoxide. He was so low, dealt with effectively. And it looks like Berg can't quite find the headshot. So very good start for EXO. Clicks hunting for 4 in the post.
And we are off with fireworks here in the L'Oreal Men Expert Valorant Invitational, our second map of the day, the second match here in the group stages. And EXO Clan firing up Plex on 4 kills for the Reyna. You love to see a Reyna get ahead nice and early, working towards that early Empress as well. Talk often about round 3 timings for ultimates, and especially on the duelist as well. And that's what we're talking about today. Plex is one of the few players in OCE that is still reliably going over towards the Reyna. Most teams are shying away from the Reyna now, but EXO Clan are anything but shy.
Looks like they're going to be setting up for a potential A split here, or rather, Bit of an A push coming out from Legacy, going for the full stack, 4-man stack. Bit of info from Zenkoko over on the opposing side of the map as EXO. Again, just happy to control mid. Crunchy following that drone in, just making sure the corners are all clear.
Gonna push up.
Oh yeah, all the way through. Straight past the Butcher. And they're going to be stuck at the tripwire. Looks like they busted it. As that information comes through, they managed to spot the flank. Now, this is when you need to go forward. Panic, unfortunately, can't hit it with the right click. Couldn't get a second one off. Dealt with very quickly by Bob. Deoxide trying to use that classic at long range. It just doesn't go well for him at all. Looks like A site's found. Yes, Jet there over at a long, but unfortunately... Oh, actually, you know, Gaz has managed to win that engagement. It gets dizzy. You're going to feel a little bit silly there. Ghost retrieved, and now maybe a chance, but he's going to have to do it all himself. 70 HP.
Flix is coming.
Collapse on him. He's gone straight through, and B-Hop's a little bit too strong this time. There it is. Headshot found onto Gaza, and a very clean round for number 2 coming out of EXO.
If I'm going to nitpick a little bit here, you know that I will, is technically Plex getting the 3k there doesn't help him anymore in terms of ult economy. We'll get him another 200 bucks in the bank, which is always helpful. But at 7-0, he confirmed the Empress. 1 kill even before that final one onto Gaza, or Gaza. Now looking at this situation, a very important round coming through for the side of Legacy, but it's 4 rifles alive on the side of EXO. They're well and truly prepared. Empress might even come out this round as well. That's going to put Plex even further in the lead, and EXO might be able to confirm number 3.
Feeling safe.
Let's see, straight into B. They start to head. Paranoia perfectly hits 4 of the EXO players. That's going to certainly slow them down. Dizzy. Or Legacy, rather. Anyway, Dizzy trying to make his way forward. Does have the Vandal to play with. Looking for the wall bang and looking for a bit of a smoke bust. Doesn't quite come out straight away. So, good control over at the boat shed, but still inside. Crunchy needs to be a little bit wary.
Here.
Or panic, rather.
Look at the spike. It's gone. Bob's taking that one over towards A.
Oh, yeah, okay.
To see down on B now. This is where EXO have to start making their way over to A instead. They've successfully faked their presence on towards B, but if you are the side of Legacy, you know something's up because there's no plant, there's no real action going on over here. Iron is still keeping a couple of players busy in terms of rotations. That is going to give A away now. Bob has been spotted by the trap wire, but as the plant comes on through, this will be EXO confirming. However, it's only 2v4. They've given up a lot of members on B just to get the free plant on A.
Heading back in, they're going to be trying to send it double, or was it 3-man? 4-man retake, all from heaven. Okay, so strength in numbers approach this time. Bob waiting for that door to be blown up, but it looks like that won't be the case. Smoke over towards the switch, and oh, perfect placement of the dash from Gaza. Quick one, but Crunchy now has to do it in the 1-on-3. Finds another 45 HP to play with. Fakes the TP across to the short side and takes the fight with Dio. That's going to be enough. Zenkoko for the defuse, as we do see Legacy getting on the board before it's too late. Oh, and again, a little bit of BM coming out.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a personal thing here as well, because most people might not know this one, but Crunchy, Ferg, and Deoxide used to be on the same team in Beta. Humble Boys, the very dominant Beta team for Valorant, before OCE even got servers. So, I mean, these guys go fair a while back. Plex dying early on towards B main as well. Definitely not helping the EXO campaign to win that 3rd round. They have plenty of rifles, but excellent paranoia coming through across the boathouse into B main, making sure that the EXO members weren't going to be able to get very early value, and the Empress saved over.
Get out of my way.
Now we look at this situation. The Empress might want to be considered to be popped again. I do repeat myself into that one, as Gaz is not going to waste any time on the Blade Storm.
Looking to get straight in there. Ferg controlling mid, couple of pot shots straight through the smoke. Won't find anything, won't connect. Flicks, bit of a flash to cross over to mid safely. No one facing in that direction. A split seems to be the situation that we're about to see. That's going to be spotted though. Tree being watched by the camera. Dio, strong position here. Hidden behind Jen. It's just a matter of time. Ferg as well.
Bomb buddy out.
Boom, the ready. Oh, nice. Our drone coming back. That's going to be a lot of information. They know that there's going to be a player at tree, and oh, the drone's managed to tag him as well. So defense is stopped for a moment. Ferg wants to go through. Plix very aware that this aggressive play could be the call of order. But Ferg, good discipline, and he sits in it. Great patience coming out there, and Legacy unable to trade it. So 4v4 for the moment as Dio finds yet another bomb.
Flicks down.
One, but not enough. And we are going to see the rotation coming in. Dizzy coming in from the flank, spikes down, but it's going to be a bit of a flood on site. 3v1, and Zenkoko is going to be left last alive. It's a hard position to be in. The lineup's almost there, finds two quick ones. It's all up to Dizzy on Zenkoko. Makes his way in, taps it. Won't bait out anything. Great patience from Dizzy. Perfect movement as well to find the final kill. So there it was. Zenkoko did his best to try to get a second on the board for Legacy, but he just couldn't get across the line, and Dizzy clutches that out for EXO.
Heaps of damage done, though. That's what you're going to give out to the Legacy for side of things this time around. Plex gets the opening kill on towards the tree side of things, but is unfortunately taken down super early after that, so not getting maximum usage out of the Empress. Ends up being a fairly close round, a very close call for the side of EXO Clan, who, you know, a couple things going maybe awry there would have definitely have called for the panic button becoming like by 2 for now as we start heading into the next round. And this is a situation where Gaza opens up the Plex, and that's one of the key members from EXO down early.
Great start to the round as EXO look to accelerate over towards the A side of the map while they can, going in off the back of the drone. They spot Dio over towards Heaven. Fight comes in over towards Jen. Great positions to try to deny, as it looks like we are going to see the ultimate used from Omen for the information, and information has certainly been found. Now, very stacked setup underneath Heaven. Good couple of crossfires, but Gaza deals with Dizzy over towards A long for us to set up for the retake. Another found by Panic. Now, there's the tide. It's turned. We do see one found by Bob, but that's going to be traded straight back out as well. Player onto Heaven. It's going to be Iron. Needs to try to clutch it and couldn't finish off a half HP Panic. He does manage to get the better of him. That's going to be 3 kills on the retake for Panic, and a solid round again coming through for Legacy. Passes that defuse off to Dio instead, because Panic obviously already has that ultimate at the ready. And that's going to be 2 on the board. So nice and close game so far.
A 3K to make sure things are very competitive for the side of the Legacy. You saw Plex go down super early there. So despite having a, 7-0 start, in the last couple of rounds, he's been 1-3, which is not ideal for Plex. I say a couple of rounds, I mean a few rounds. You have to have 3 rounds to die 3 times. Now moving into what will be round number 6 here. We have a broken buy for the side of EXO. Just a hero rifle this time for Crunchy. Still got a few ults in play. We do need to see Dizzy maybe go for an orb, because, I mean, a Blaze Storm would really help in this sort of situation. Your buy isn't quite where you want it to be over the side of Legacy, though. Looking pretty comfortable for now. One stinger onto Gaza. I mean, actually, they got a few more SGs than they like, but it's definitely still better than what EXO have. So, early Aldrome plus Blaze Storm. Popped over the side of 8. It's going to be Dizzy picking up that orb as expected. The spike, however, is still leaning over towards B for now. And we'll see if this fake is being sold effectively from the side of EXO. Legacy have stacked up at least 3 members on towards A. Is in Coco leading in that direction as well. Panic on the lonesome over towards B, calling for the reinforcements. The plant's going to come in early because they know Panic is there. They didn't even check back sight. Recon data is going to reveal plenty of members. Crunchy will clean them up, and now Legacy are on for the retake. The players are flooding in. Fergus and Coco both picking 1 up each. It's going to be Bob trying to respond with the Hunter's Fury. I know exactly. Confirming a little bit of damage, but not too much after that. Dizzy onto Ferg as well. 3v2 now. Note that the spike still has not been planted. That's the major issue that EXO have to deal with in this particular round. Less than 30 seconds to go now, and they have to try and just bust their way in. Versus 3. Full control there. Hunter's Fury still available. On the side is in Coco. Lower still is going to be Bob. As all of EXO fall over, and they do not check backside. They do not find Panic, and they will lose their spike plant opportunity.
Beautiful round coming out, for, at least on the defense. So we're all tied up at 3 apiece. And if you have a look here, economy looking good. Gaza getting that operator in play. So even though it's been nerfed to no extent, you know, still seeing some gameplay. It'll be interesting to see if Dizzy does the same later, or if he's just going to commit to the rifle instead.
Because he most likely will be sniping on the defense, so a lot of attacking jets have opted now not to go for the operator early. Or in some cases, I mean, that will be exemplified if Gaza goes down, whether they want to pick it up or not. They've spotted Gaza out there, shot through the wall, will connect. removes a decent chunk of armor and HP away from Bob. So EXO, they know where Gaza is now. Spike is slowly moving away from A main as we're setting up for this third taken out.
Absolutely disgusting. Dizzy has himself a little line up there and finds a headshot perfectly straight down mid. Legacy's defense already thinned out, as you can see that Spike still hanging around at mid, but Tree being taken now by EXO. Dizzy leading the charge. He's going to get his head ripped off. Dio, solid position in the corner, has that camera, but he doesn't have the time to pull his weapon back out. Crunchy, great entry. He's taken the moment perfectly. Gaza goes for the Blade Storm, but not using it just yet. Hunter's Fury, not quite enough. Jump up the top, no one's spotted. Everyone close to the wall. Panic, great patience to find that flank coming through from Iron. And look, Spike hasn't been planted just yet. There's too much coming towards them.
Crunchy's got an ult. He's got to go for this. We're back over towards B. That's what Crunchy
30 seconds left.
will just out-rotate the opposition now. Spike will come through. Full confidence that nobody from Legacy will be here to respond. However, we're still long currently because he has to win a 1v3 in the post-plant. Few isolations will be required here. We're going to go first, looking for a player coming through from the defender's spawn. There'll be one defender spawn, two coming through from market as well. The smoke is not going to last very long. It does fade, and Crunchy instantly picks up one.
It's going to be a rough situation. Paranoia, perfect position, but it's going to hit both ways. And Pan, the only man that could see, is able to get the final kill. So another for Legacy, and that's the lead as well. 4-3. Great retake coming out off the back of a crazy play from Crunchy.
Nearly made that one work as well. I mean, he gets one more kill there, maybe dodges away from the paranoia. I think the initial paranoia coming through from both sides was good, but Crunchy doesn't need to push up there. Possibly feeling a little bit of pressure trying to beat the timing. It is a 1v2. You have to try and find two back-to-back 1v1s to win it. The initial teleport off the Omen ultimate from the Shadows was great, but yeah, like I mentioned there, the 1v3 is going to be quite tough, and that's exactly the case here as we move into the next round now, number 8, and the operator's still in the hands of Gaza. Sincoka picking up now the Sova Odin as well to be played over towards B. This is where now you've got to be quite careful if you are EXO, especially over towards B. You don't want to get wallbanged.
Looks like over towards mid, Ferg. Just jiggling, looking for some information, but EXO all grouped up over towards that A site already. Iron solo plays up short, just edging his way through Cat now. Greenbot not going to spot him. It does actually, for a very short moment. Berg hears that, tries to draw his attention, but now as the smoke comes through, it looks like it's a strat they've seen before. Great defensive paranoia to allow the peak coming out from Panic. So he's found one from underneath Hell there. Ferg another. There's Crunchy. He's just waiting for an overextension at Heaven. Oh, can't decide who to shoot. Up and down he goes, but it is going to be him going down. Dio with a 3K from Hell. Solid defense on that A site. And another round on the defense for Legacy.
Well, this time a really fast rotation from Legacy as well, making sure there's no chance of a plant. That's been one of the, I guess, boons of Legacy so far on this defense. They've now taken 4 in a row. Those first 4 rounds really were slightly more favored towards EXO. Again, a reminder everyone of the 7-0 start for Plex, and since then, now the scoreline's 1-6 for the other, how many is it now, rounds? 6 rounds it's been since then, so it's been a really rough go for the side of EXO, who are likely to lose another one in a row. It'll be 5 in a row that they lose if they don't confirm this eco, and it'll be unlikely for them to confirm it. Gaza, up for 1, we'll find it.
Big pick from Gaza to kick things off as well. Although we do see a bit of a rotation mid-round here back towards that B site from EXO. Just looking to bolster the numbers and filter their way in straight from B main together. EXO doing a lot of this, not really going for those splits as much, just whatever this sort of death ball type strategy. Plix as well finds himself a nice little pick over towards the site. Gaza edges forward. That's a dangerous place to be with the operator, but he doesn't realize Plix is right next to him in the smoke. Oh, can't hit him with the quick flick as Panic manages to hold this down over towards default, dancing around. Can't get the TP out as Bob comes in to trade, but it might be too little too late. He has the shock dart at least to play around. Bomb control is there as he won't tap it just yet. Disappears, tries to dodge the bolt coming out from the drone. Left. Shock dart can't deal with it as tries to go for the recon bolt instead. Does get tagged. Oh, it's awkward for him, but can't quite finish him off. 20 seconds. Needs to get this spike planted.
And both sides know it here as well. Legacy can wait this one out. They'll wait for the tap. Bob's not even going to go for it at this rate. Tries to land the 1v1 versus Nkoko, but the Odin a little bit too strong here. Was worried for Bob a little bit as well. Nkoko on the Odin through the wall would have been a lot of damage over Bob's way. But that round in particular is going to be another one in a row where for the side of EXO, they just can't quite plant. So we've gone from a situation where EXO have been fairly comfortable on this attack to not even really being able to plant at all. And even that plant in the middle, by the way, you see that big 5-round streak win, that one straight in the middle, that number 3 in the 5, that was only found because of the From the Shadows Omen TP play from Crunchy. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have planted that round either. So it's been pretty rough going so far on the second part of this half as it has another player lining up in front of him, but eats a lot of damage through the smoke.
Again, bit of a slow start to the round, although you can see that Gaz has copped a big amount of damage so far. Again, panic. Here's this drone coming around the corner, so not sure if he'll be spotted straight away. Might have at the last second, but not 100% sure on that. Boombot sent back the other direction, just to make sure no one's made their way up with said drone. They realize Dizzy's over towards mid instead. Gonna jump across, try to spot market, allows the boys to start to make their way through. Flix leading the charge there on the Reyna. Just trying to go for those aggressive plays. Dizzy as well, dashes straight into market. It's going to be the B split now. Spike starting to make his way through B mains, and Coco tries to hold this one off with the Odin. Shock Dart does a bit of damage and tries to go for the spam, but unfortunately can't find too much there. It's going to be Dizzy hitting straight back. Flix 5 HP in the corner. 30 seconds to get to site, but Dio's there to bolster the defenses. As Gazza as well needs to get that door open. A couple of quick shots there with the operator will do it. As it's now going to be the 3v3 for the retake.
I know exactly.
The problem here today, you look at Gazzy, he's on very critical HP. Third now tapped down to 3. It's the wall bangs coming through from the neural theft being committed over the side of EXO as well, courtesy of Iron. And as the time starts running out, Gazza, who has already one shot through the smoke, through the wall, I should probably say. Might as well be a smoke at this stage. You can't really see through the wall, but Dizzy doesn't care. And this last 3v2, I think Legacy are going to try and walk away. They'll go for the exits, and that's all they can hope for.
Looks like Ferg's just going to try to save this operator over to the next. Manages to get the exits. Won't be able to keep that operator in hand. A little bit too close to the explosion. Everybody dies. And look, at least there was some extra damage done to the economy. They realized that EXO's economy was pretty much nothing at the end of last round, and they can have a quick look now to see that there's only 4k. So if they do manage to win another, then that's the economy broken again for another round for EXO, and the defenders could just be winning in the financial department.
Yeah, Ferg probably should have saved the operator there. I mean, repurchasing for Gazza is going to be another 5k that they have to shell out, which isn't comfortable. They technically have the money, but there's still a couple of rounds to play for. You want to make sure that you have full buy opportunities for the rest of the last 2 rounds. Speaking of the fact that there are only 2 more rounds now, EXO fairly desperate to get the ball rolling a little bit harder. Dizzy will get the opening peck, and Bob throws in the Hunter's Fury just for a little bit of added measure.
All the way up to heaven already. Plix, the man just loves to get aggressive, and he's so good at it as well. But speaking of, Gazza on the flank already with the operator. Bob had no idea that he could be there. We are going to see him try to make his way through. Blade Storm, bit of noise made over towards the boxes, but Iron ready to fight underneath. Knew it could have been the fake. That's going to be a long dealt with early, so no flank there. Zenkoko, Odin in hand. The man loves it, but he's not going to be able to do too much as Plix just runs through the smoke at him. Cloudburst just bursting a little bit too long, I'd say, and now it's Dio to try to save in this 1-on-4. But will he be allowed to? Because again, Plix, he's hunting, he's hungry, he's looking for anything, and he wants no man left alive. But Dio fights for his life this time, and that's going to be a Vandal taken across into round number 12, final round of the half. But another round on the board for EXO, 6-5, nice and close.
1 left to go for this particular half as well, and Legacy still have the opportunity to go for 7. Dizzy will actually pick up the operator, so question answered whether Dizzy wants to snipe on the offense or not. However, it would just be for the last round of the half. It would just be one of the attacking rounds out of the possible 12 that Dizzy will go for this. A couple of players also don't have full armor between Plix and Bob's. Technically speaking, Plix just needs to kill to fill up his armor. is a Reyna player, of course, looking over towards the Legacy side of things. It's not comfortable. Ferg only on the Sheriff. Zenkoko has an Ares, which would be great for wallbanging over towards B, but he's actually not playing B early on. He'll be stacking over towards A for now. Maybe just looking for an early play onto the recon arrow. And there's the early play now coming on through, but Gaza gets punished by Bob.
How has Bob read that? The man couldn't see or hear a thing, but still managed to react in time to Gaza falling down upon him. And that's going to be a nice way to start the round. Aggression not paying off for Legacy this time. And again, Zenkoko, is that the Odin again, or has he got the Judge? Anyway, it looks like a bit of action here for Ferg as he tries to make up for what Gaza couldn't do. And that does not work out at all. Bob, again, just going to be droning in, doesn't want to get too ahead of himself. And there's going to be some aggression shortly. Another flash to follow, just making sure there's no one sneaking through those smokes. And that's exactly what Panic's going to do. Straight through the cage as well. Makes a bit of noise. Great reaction from Plix. The man is on one this evening.
Spike planted.
And we're going to see them continue to go forward as well. Dizzy, ready to use that operator. But it's going to be Plix dishing out the damage. Dio drops the ultimate. Able to see everything now. But even so, it's a 1-on-4. And he's got to run against 4 EXO players, which is not where you want to be going. Plix dealt with. Still some time on the clock to clutch it. But it's just 1 of 4. Can't get the second. And we're going to see a 6-6 half. EXO fighting back and keeping it even Stevens at halftime.
Classic Plix aggression there, just delivering his life over. Very entertaining to see. And it is going to, I mean, at the end of the day, not matter in a 1v4 that ends up being a 1v3. Dio pops the Gerald Theft in there, and sadly enough, the ultimate just reveals the fact that he would have already known this one, but there's 4 players on site, as you'd expect. I mean, I guess technically reveals the fact that Plix is coming through from tree, but he's stomping anyway. We are going to finish the half 6 and 6, so you'll call that one a very nice lead for Legacy to start with. That ends up being a bit of a nice comeback for the EXO side of things. Again, you have to remind yourself that there's that 5-round streak in the middle of the Legacy that they couldn't quite hold on to for another one. And the last 3 rounds of this opening pistol is going to dictate the early momentum for either team.
Let's see who goes on the aggressive at the moment. It looks like it's Crunchy making his way up short. Cage in front of him. Some pot shots, and looks like that recon bolt is just going to tick on to Dio there. So they realize that there's at least 1 man at mid from Legacy. Plix again. Loves these low flashes. Always throwing them on the ground. And Ferg as well, aware that Iron could just be hiding there at Y, and they seem to be aware, but still, that's it, they're aware. And the camera is on the line. So, looks like the bot's gone. Iron has to deal with it, and they know now, but he gets the headshot. A second as well in that situation is complete ridiculousness. Now, we do see the rotations coming out for EXO. Can't quite stop Panic, but Crunchy can deal with Zenkoko, so there's the chance. Bob now trying to group up. They know that the spike's down on site. Dio on a large flank indeed. So we do see the reposition coming out from EXO, looking to hold this crossfire from Heaven. Or I thought so, but you do have Dizzy just running across, thinking that the timing could have worked. And it ends up working. Full control across that bomb. Bit of a wallbang as well. Freaking out Dio. But it's just a situation that's so hard to get out of, as Bob just finds it through the smoke. Doesn't need to see his prey to deal with it. And there it is. 7 on the board. EXO with the lead.
Iron wins that one for sure, in my opinion, right there. The double kill coming through despite being spotted over towards Wine. I mean, the Boombot even gets the confirmation for Ferg. They had suspected that there was going to be a player there. And you just look at the situation again. There's no way that Iron swings through and gets a couple of kills versus what, like 4 players stacked up over towards A main.
Yeah, crazy.
Iron really should just fall instantly. I mean, they know he's there, but he still gets a couple of kills. That just gives the player advantage over towards EXO. And now EXO taking the early lead, moving into the second half. A few purchases coming on in. And EXO are a team that, by the way, don't like to purchase too heavily on their own anti-eco. But this time around, they're going to be able to purchase a few extras. Just the 1 ghost onto Crunchy. Everyone else has got something to play with.
And Dizzy, he's got himself the Judge at close range. Nade dodged as well as he's gone into boat shared. Now in comes the action. Bob, he's got himself the Ares to play with. Disgusting. Only finds a single. Dizzy as well, another. But is it enough? I don't know. You know, you've got heaps of damage done by Legacy already. Plix with the Spectre, just waiting for someone to get a bit overzealous there, but Spike's very much in the open. Panic picks up the area, says, what the hell is this weapon? Why has someone purchased it? And he can't use it. So unfortunately, he's going to go down and EXO take another.
You look at the side of Panic as well, just on 3 HP. He's been banged up, limping through. 2 players alive there. They got the 2 kills onto EXO, but not going to be enough at the end of the day, especially not with 1 member 1 shot away, and Bob will have another Ares to bang through the walls of B if he wants to, but actually seems like Bob would be starting over towards the A side of things instead. A pretty massive stack, all things considered, for EXO over towards A. I mean, this is the gun round coming through from Legacy, so you are seeing EXO kind of, I don't know, gambling in some sort of sense.
Let's see if the gamble pays off.
Right here.
Moment. Looks like we are going to see Legacy choosing the path of least resistance. At least that's what it seems. Smoke over towards deep market to allow the wrap in. And the split at B. But it won't happen just yet. Very thorough. Lots of patience being displayed. Droning through for Zenkoko just to make sure that no one is lurking on either side of the arch there. But they do just spot Bob in market, and in comes the crunch, but the man again has that Ares to play with, and he gets 1, but it's not quite enough now, as you can see. Actually, I think it was Plix shooting through the smoke that ended up getting that kill. But we are going to have a 4v4 for the retake. EXO seem to be happy with this situation as they group up 2 towards market, 2 in CT, and no flank. Zenkoko, first line of defense here, just watching the cross, smoked off though. Dizzy seems to be aware and he's waiting for this push to come through. It's a matter of moments. Smoke in the smoke just to deny extra vision. Now 3, all gazing towards Catwalk, just waiting for this push to come through. Smokes in, or flash rather, as Crunchy tries to play the wallbang game and he's going to win it as well. That's going to be a 1-for-4 trade. An EXO successful retake to put a 9th on the board, 1 away from double digits. And just 4 away from taking the victory. Huge retake, marvelous round. And look, the 1-4D split is something you don't see too often. But again, EXO, very happy to play for that retake.
All right, well, Bob's got the Odin now, so that's a definite upgrade for the side of EXO. 6 in a row if you consider the last 3 rounds on the previous half have been confirmed. The first 3 here. And a massive pickup considering, I mean, remember the situation. It ended up being Bob holding towards market, a 4-stack for EXO in towards A. Plix with the fast rotation to help Bob out to get the initial pick via the smoke. And then the rest of the retake as well for EXO just coming into full effect. And this is going to be a rough one because you don't expect the Legacy will be able to do too much here. Dizzy up close through the smoke nice and early, but full guns versus full pistols. A few upgrades there in terms of pistol upgrades, but Legacy would need to do something special to be able to get number 7 this round.
Oh, Dio almost gifted that opportunity as the smoke fades. But it is just the full bait. Dizzy in the corner here at Pizza, hoping that he's not cleared, but it looks like we aren't going to see Legacy head this direction anyway. Up short they go. Smoke on to the recon bolt instead of just shooting it because Dizzy didn't want anyone to know he was there, although, you know, a bit of a cloud burst might have given that up anyway.
Yeah, it's the same at the end of the day. Just one of them costs you $100 and the other one's just a bullet coming through. Speaking of bullets coming through, plenty being exchanged here. Crunchy for more than a few. Oh. Gaz is just not going to be the land and knife after the initial kill. That should just be the cleanup now. 1 player alive, and you don't expect the Zenkoko will be at the clutch.
Oh, yeah. And Crunchy couldn't get himself the 4th, but Dizzy, nice and close with the trade, pushing in together. Solid teamwork, solid coordination, and you'll have to see it from EXO. That's going to be a 4-round lead, and at the moment, they just have all this momentum. Yep. Legacy just can't seem to answer it.
And that's the problem now as well, because we talked plenty about the fact that losing teams will have a little bit more pressure in terms of the economy here. Trying to save is just going to cost them more rounds, less money in the bank as well. Not saving in situations where you can't win just means you're throwing away your life and your gun. So it's kind of like a lose-lose in some senses. 10-6 right now. It's a 4-round difference. It's the number's only 4 here, Mac, but it just feels like a golf.
Well, let's see if this is the round that Legacy change it all up. Iron making sure that door's destroyed. Doesn't want that to happen in the post plant. Crunchy traded out early by Ferg, but that's also a world of information. And off the back of that, push at the extremity. B main fully cleared by EXO. They're able to go for the stack on A, but still Iron playing this solo. The man, very experienced and is happy just to set up for the retake. As EXO know, they've got so much map control. That's it, no door. They're a little worried. They're like, what's going on? Okay, can't deal with that. Now Ferg stuck in the corner, but happy to play there.
Ferg, a little bit of confusion there. Plix has taken a while, so is Dizzy. He's finally arrived on site now. 4v4 retake into effect. Dizzy will have a nice 1v1 to deal with versus Deoxide. The rest of the 3 players needs to try and clear out Hell as soon as possible. And Dizzy's actually given up A main. He's going to try and follow Plix now over towards Tree. And Ferg's down early to Iron via the Odin. Well, actually via the Phantom, but you know, Odin is in the hands of Bob.
Interesting what's happened there, but Bob can't get more than the single. Gaza happily playing here from Hell. There's a good crossfire on the bomb between him and Dio. And Plix, he's running out of time, tries to swing his way in, but it is not... Oh, it does work for one. A little bit too late, though, and it's just financial damage that he'll find. Iron, he was the first line of defense there, or Dio, rather. He was over towards that A site, managed to get away scot-free. And Legacy, they salvage one. Just one so far for the half. Now, let's see if they can double that up. Let's see if they can keep the game close, or if we are just going to see a bit of an upset with EXO hitting straight back. Bob, he keeps buying the Odin. Is this... What's going on?
It's a real strat.
It's a real?
Yeah, it's a real strat. Just so we're clear, you specifically bang through this wall on the tail of whatever that thing is on the wall.
Yep.
And that's how we play this game. So, guys, by the way, 5 out of 6 over towards the Blaze Storm. We'll be nearly there soon, looking for it this round. Get to take up that orb, but there it is, confirmed now. And doubling up, very important here. Plix is down. Okay, we're definitely doubling up now, Mac. That's a lot of kills early on. And Legacy here should have no problems now. They do lose one to Dizzy, but the spike's been planted and it's 4v2.
Big entries, and you can see all it took was the one round to get a bit of confidence back for Legacy. EXO caught napping, not expecting the faster strategy coming out from Legacy, and it was the answer. Again, you can see Dizzy happy just to keep the operator alive into the next, knowing he probably won't or have less money at the end if he does just try to purchase another one. Not too sure how that one's going to go. Bob as well. Looking to keep the Odin in play. Gaza wants to deal with it. Oh, a couple of knives connecting, but Bob will win the engagement overall. 50 HP for him. Gaza, was that worth your life? Maybe. Who knows? I think he'd already popped the Blade Storm on the way in, so he really needed to use it anyway.
Technically speaking, Gaza could have exited that round with a gun because there would have been an extra gun on the ground somewhere, and the Blade Storm was confirmed reasonably early. He picked up the extra alt orb from A main to get the Blade Storm out. Didn't buy up in this round, only had the classic, so needed something to play with. And now that we got a couple of rounds, and I mean, Max, sometimes all it takes is you do just have to break the silence. It was 7 rounds in a row there for EXO between the 3 on the previous half and the first 4 of this particular half. And after that, finally you see Legacy wake up, come back into life, and come back into a potential to try and catch up now. Only 2 rounds separating the teams.
And it was looking bleak for a moment, but still, let's go. They're back. There's a chance. But no aggression coming out from EXO. Happy just to play it more passive this round after sneaking Dizzy over towards Wine, towards that A site. But again, going for a more heavy approach on the D towards the A side of the map rather than here towards B.
And by the way, both players have operators this time around. You see both Dizzy and Gaz are looking for lineups, or I say lineup, but just for the line in general. No one going to be peeking on through aggression from A. You mentioned that already, but EXO not going to get aggressive on this particular defense. So Gaz is going to make his rifle, sniper rifle rather, shifting it over towards B, man. That's where all 5 are. A lot of ults on the side of EXO, not a lot of ults on the side of Legacy. The first showstopper won't connect.
On the way in, Iron can only find the 1-for-1 situation, but Crunchy as well, not going to be able to get any work done. Ferg deals with the site effectively, and again, we're in a 3v4 situation. EXO already thinking about saving. They're going to prod here. Double B main setup. Oh, it's 1 B main, 1 at logs rather. So pretty solid positions to be able to trade for Legacy. And EXO, they're just waiting for Legacy to overstep their boundaries, but great patience being displayed. Dizzy has managed to find one on to Zenkoko. Now on the way in. Gaza.
Playing for
Perfect
exits.
line. It's just... That's it. Exits is the call. 9 secured by Legacy. So great take, great round again. But let's see how the economy is at the end of it. Cloudburst denying vision, allowing the escape towards B main. Plix will find 1 casualty. And oh, the explosion just barely reaching Gaza and Ferg. Just barely as well. The edge of it, touching them, tickling them on the toes, and it was enough to send them flying.
I'll tell you what, that's a job well done then for the side of EXO. I thought Legacy were going to get it with 2 alive, and I'm sure Legacy thought the same thing there. You know, props to Gaza for putting the initial cloudburst down to try and luck out the defender spawn link. Trying to give Ferg an opportunity to come over towards B main where the safety was, where there was still a bit of control for Legacy, but losing everyone is going to be costly for the bank. So despite winning the round, I mean, it ends up being EXO walking away with most of the players alive onto that one. So they get 3 weapons. Technically, it was a save, so they don't get a lot of loss bonus in terms of the money coming in. That's why 2 players are not going to have full armor. That's why Crunchy will be using the Guardian this particular round, but they get to save the Operator, they get to save the Odin. Those are the 2 important guns. And now Legacy have made this half very interesting. It was starting to look like a bit of a blowout, Mac, but 9 and 10 is now a close game.
Revealing area.
Slower approach at the start. Legacy just making sure there's no B main presence being shown by EXO, but this time nothing. Couple of trips left there as Legacy regroup over towards A. But again, Dizzy posted on the perfect line. Not sure how he's going to get away with this. Does have a dash and a cloudburst, so maybe that's the answer. Let's see. Boombot may just reveal his position. Could be the crux. No, Dizzy hides.
Oh, it's
a couple
coming.
of footsteps. You know, that's the... Oh, there it is. No collateral. He's just going to dash straight out. No answer there for Legacy as Dizzy pops that cloudburst straight back to tree. Looks to play a defensive Gaza on the way in. Big entry onto Plix, and that's going to be the top fragger dealt with already. So Iron hides in the smoke, decides to pull back towards the corner. But it's a 4v4 for the retake. Iron can't quite connect there. And it is going to be, again, Bob, he's found it. So the power of the Odin, it's going to be displayed as Coco able to find Iron out on an island. As now it's Panic. Here in the corner, Bob, the Odin, and a Dream. 81 bullets left. Doesn't even need to bother reloading if he can find the kills. Inaccuracy, a factor there. The bullet spread a little bit too much at that range, and it looks like he's just going to try to save this magnificent weapon over to the next. But there you have it, the tie point, 10-10. Legacy fighting their way all the way back in. And Bob will go down at the end. So no Odin into the next. Oh my, what a chaotic round, to put it simply.
Was a good start, though. I mean, you look at where EXO were at the beginning. Dizzy coming on in with the initial operator shot, gets away safely as well into the loving and waiting arms of Plix's teammate. However, I do believe Plix goes down a fair while after that one. He even popped the Empress. I think that's the biggest loss here. Plix hasn't found a lot of success on the Empress so far, and that's maybe the biggest missing piece of the puzzle there for EXO. And that can get shaped up. EXO will be in a much better position. Not that they're in a bad position, but they had a pretty decent lead earlier in terms of 10-6, and since then, you've had 4 in a row coming through from Legacy, so maybe time to sweat a little bit if you are EXO, especially if you are Dizzy and Iron buying down to 0. Bob's bought down to 100 as well, so you lose this one as EXO, you're probably on an Eco or a Force Spy on minimal equipment.
Right here.
Bob is absolutely loving this. She's got money for days. Odin's for days as well. Nice little curl there. Bit of a spinner thrown by Dizzy. No bounce, though.
Slow round coming through this time around. Legacy just really poking and prodding to see what they can find. A little bit of mid control starting to look like a mid to B, or at least a B split. Iron, by the way, knows that nothing's over towards A. If you are EXO right now, you want to start rotating members over. It's Plix in more trouble now. He's been blinded. He's flashed up. Can't quite get a trade. Ferg will take him down. And Bob has to try and do it all right now. Needs to get a bit of a wallbang action happening, but Panic will confirm the kill, and now it's 3v5.
He revealed his position with that spam early, although probably would have been cleared regardless. There it is, two-man advantage in the post plant. EXO losing it 2 more, and Legacy about to take the lead here. 11 to 10, unless something crazy happens, but Crunchy can't do a thing. 5 alive, Avril, at the end. That is massive for Legacy.
I'll tell you what, Bob definitely can't afford a Odin this time around. Dizzy won't be able to get the operator. In fact, they'll be lucky to get any real guns. It'll be 5 pistols. Well, that means we'll be playing for the overtime. I mean, Legacy not so much. They'll be going towards match point. They should be able to get this round fairly comfortably. I mean, it's a full purchase, lots of money, heavy armor, full utility versus, what, 4 sheriffs there? Iron doesn't even have one. There he'll get himself a sheriff as well. But for the side of EXO, the best you can hope for right now, lose this particular round, maybe do a little bit of damage, pick up a couple of guns, and then go into the next one, pray that you can go into overtime and rely on the OT win.
What's the answer this time? You can hear the footsteps all rotating. No one over towards B main making too much noise, but Legacy, now they're in the lead. They don't want to lose it. They don't want to die to any gimmicks, any over-aggression, or, you know, EXO just doing EXO things. But this time, I really like that camera coming out for Iron. Straight through the treetops. But he's off it for now. And again, this 1-4 split, and it's not even really a 1-4 split. You've only got Plix here at Pizza, the last line of defense on the B site. So, full gamble. And it might just pay off. Legacy showing the tendency to go over towards this A site, and they're going to do it again.
And that's going to be luck awarded to the side of EXO now. They have got a massive stack on A as described. And that ends up being where Legacy goes. So Legacy haven't quite scouted this one. Plex, by the way, just confirming nothing's happening over towards B. So he saw the util. He'll be calling over to his team. Feels like an A to me. And Plex will now try and regain a bit of mid-control. Probably just take a bit of a peek. And then, now here we go. It's all A action. We'll see if the Sheriffs can come up big. So far, not so much.
Nice entry out from Gaza, but dealt with. Dizzy now going to be stuck at hell, but he needs the players to help him. Iron just in that smoke, waiting for the perfect moment, but a huge shot from Dizzy who hasn't been dealt with. And it is just too much. Vandal retrieved by Iron.
10 seconds left.
And he manages to pop the ult. All he needs to do is stop this spike from being planted to win, but he can't do it. Great coverage from Ferg, and Legacy don't lose the NTK. It was a costly one, but now they're just 1 round away from winning this best of 1 against EXO Clan. My lord, are we going to see it, Avril?
Oh, it's looking fairly likely, but you never quite count on EXO Clan just yet. They need to win the next 2 rounds in a row. They have to get themselves into the money for OT. Might be a bit of a tall order here considering the momentum. And I mean, 6 rounds ago, I don't know about you, I was nearly ready to count Legacy out. I never want to count a team out too early, but they were so far behind. And since then, I mean, we talk about the fact that they win 1 round, get a bit of momentum, they more than double up, and since then, they have not lost a single round.
Angle that Gaza was playing was actually sick. I haven't seen it yet, and I love it. But look, won't have too much impact this round because no one's pushing a main from EXO. So where we're going to see Legacy go this time looks like it might be back to B. They're certainly set up for that, waiting for any more aggression. And a bit of a change from EXO. This time you can see Dizzy. He's trying to get a bit aggressive at mid. Drone comes through. Dealt with. Missed the dart though. And Dizzy falls back. Doesn't want to get caught off guard.
You can see that EXO really lack information right now. Crunchy's defensive smoking over towards short. They don't know what's happening on towards A. Dizzy lost the line on mid, now finally regaining the line. Might be able to get a kill here as well, as you do see that the Oxide was tempting fate, but won't really be doing too much more there. Bob ends up being one of the sole anchors here, readied up with Iron, and there it is. I think they're sensing something now because Crunchy does also smoke towards B.
Bob's doing like a silent jump there, so sneaky maneuvers, not to be spotted.
Oh
Gaza with a beautiful entry. The Blade Storm too much. Left clicked in the head, but they know Iron's on the back of sight. Dizzy with another coming in through marker, but it's not quite enough. It's back to the 3-on-3. Spike planted with 20 seconds remain, so plenty of time to reposition in his post plans. Dio, a very aggressive position, but in the corner, it's hard to clear Dizzy. Is he going to even check it? I don't think anyone's played here so far for Legacy, and he does, but Dio very sharp there. Playing with the Vandal in the corner. They know where one player is. That's going to be Plix coming in from CT. And I dare say they're going to hear the 2 steps, footsteps on the way through. Just waiting, fighting. That wallbang won't quite connect enough to deal with it. Spotted there. The bolt is too much. And Dio, 3 and a 13th on the board. That's the map. Legacy getting their first win in the tournament over the top of EXO. Oh, mate, I would have to say that's an upset. That's absolutely ridiculous. Again, Legacy, they've done it. Seed number 3 coming into it, and that's why.
7 rounds in a row, Mac. That's all I got to say here in terms of the comeback for Legacy. You look at how the rounds have transpired, and what a huge comeback. I mean, you had 5 in a row coming through for Legacy in the first half, 7 in a row coming through in terms of EXO responding between the 2 rounds, or rather between the 2 halves. And then once Legacy start getting the ball rolling on the second half, that's it. They just never let go. They hold it in their hands the entire time. They grab the driving wheel, the steering wheel, and they're in control. They're in the driver's seat for the rest of the map, and that's going to be at least somewhat tilting for EXO. That's going to be really rough to see for EXO as well, because, I mean, it looked like they had the win coming in. It looked like they had the real opportunity to get that win on board, but it slips away from them. It slips away massively. It's a huge fumble, and they give it up to the opposition here. And Legacy, look, I do agree. You know, Legacy versus MF, it becomes a bit of a toss-up. Is it an upset if Mindfreak win? It's a little bit hard to say. I think this one definitely is more of an upset, considering Legacy are a new team. They got good, strong members. They just lost to MF. They didn't look too great coming into this map. They even struggled early on. And then EXO, unfortunately, are not going to be able to pick up the win. And they did struggle versus Rip and Tear as well. So maybe that's coming to bear.
So I thought I muted my PC, but I was just so excited at the end, waving my hands around. I like half pulled out the cord from my headphones. So I thought everything was muted, and I thought everything was broken, but we're here. So anyway, at the end of all that, the other match is done as well, and now everyone has a win. So the likelihood after game number 3 tonight is that there has to be, just in Group A rather, there has to be a tie, because 2 teams are going to win out of the next matchup, and that's going to put 2 teams on 2-1. Man, this is crazy. We said this group was looking pretty stacked, pretty close, and now that seems to be the case. So all these final maps will be the deciders. There's no way. There's no way that it can't be.
I am really shocked at what we're seeing here. And that really throws caution to the wind for everybody in this particular group. And it's going to be a tough one to call now, because, I mean, there's going to be one more game left to kind of resolve things. It does mean that whoever wins this group technically will have to win with a 2-1 record. I do believe that means various tiebreakers could be into effect here. So head-to-head comes first, and then overall map record or map differential. And this is where winning each individual map, each individual round, so round difference, not map difference here. Apologies. Round difference is going to be the next call to action after the head-to-head for tiebreakers. So this is where winning each individual round is super important. And having a good sort of differential in the rounds is going to be a potential decider for the tiebreakers. And, you know, there was going to be some potential for tiebreakers, but this is absolutely out of control.
I just don't understand how it's at this point. We should have had 2 clear winners, or at least 1 clear winner, so we know how it's going to go. Look, head-to-head, if we have a quick look at exactly how the matches have gone, that should say head-to-head, if Mindfreak and Legacy both end up on 2 wins each after the next game, Mindfreak win. If Legacy and EXO both end up on 2 wins after the next one, then Legacy are technically first. At least we'll know that it'll be the 2 of the group. There's no other way for that group to be split. And currently, I do believe the Kanga game. No, the Kanga game's finished. So Order are now 28-16 in rounds 4, rounds against over in Group B. So they've got 2 wins now. And if they win this third, they should be a clear winner. Notick already getting that first win. And I believe, did they lose to Kanga, or did they just play Order?
Notick?
Notick, yeah.
Notick just lost to Order 13-15, and that was a really tight result, by the way. That one went into overtime, and to push Order that far, I think we can safely say now that Notick are a strong contender. I mean, they come through, they beat AVANT, 13-6. The 13-15 result versus a team like Order. If nothing else, it'll at least keep the round differential quite competitive. If it does go to tiebreakers on that end, so that was going to be looks like a very interesting map, a very streaky map as well. Notick, 5 in a row. Order then gets 7 in a row. So not a very back and forth a map in terms of the straight back and forth. It's just like, one team getting quite a lot and then another team getting quite a lot. You have the fact that I mean, Rip and Tear ends up beating Mind Freak. So yeah, A is definitely where the action is in terms of topsy-turvy results. B is a lot more clear in terms of where the hierarchy is. Order just barely staying alive versus Notick, but confirming the 2-0 nonetheless. Basically now, I believe, all but guarantees them. Even if Order go down 2-1, they should still be safe unless there's a tiebreaker that goes against them, which I don't think there would be. So Order are probably on track now. Order have one more game to go, and they are playing against AVANT, which, based on how AVANT have been going, I mean, a very close result versus Kanga. They did lose to Notick. I mean, anything's possible in best of one. We've seen plenty of games today, Mac, that I don't think I can, anyone can really look at best of ones and say, either way now, it really is just going to come and depend on who has a better performance on that particular map on the day. So things are getting quite spicy now in both groups.
Oh, yeah, spicy indeed. And also, that is going to be it from us for tonight's broadcast. Coming up next, you will have the big man, Mitch Konkanen, and Dion Komodo. What's Dion's last name? Completely forgot. I've lost
I think Komodo's his last name. It's just Dion Komodo.
Dion Komodo. Beautiful. Well, that's what we're going to go with. Parada? Parada.
No, that's a lie. I'm going to decide it's just Komodo.
I think it's
Dion
Komodo.
Yeah.
I think
if it's something else, I'm just not going to accept it, really. So to me, it's just going to be Dion Komodo. Anyway,
I went to his Twitter, and his name's just Komodo now. So I don't know why anyone calls him Dion anymore. Just call him the big Modo. All right. Anyway, so Komodo will be bringing you the action for the third and final game of the night, which is going to be Order taking on AVANT, which, could certainly decide exactly how Group B plays, because AVANT need to get a win on the board, or need to get another one on the board if they want to make it through to the double elim finals, which is going to be coming up tomorrow. But for now, that's it from us. So I guess we'll see you tomorrow. Avril, it's been fun. Any final words before we send it?
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you guys are in for the giveaway as well. Just as a reminder, Chiefs Twitter right now, head towards that. I'll put a link in the chat for you. Why not just make it easy for you? Tag Mods have put together a glitch pop themed PC that you can win by entering the Gleam.io link. So make sure you're in for that one. And a big shout out to all the sponsors as well, looking over towards all the different PCs on Centacom, Scorptech, PLE Computers, M-Wave, and MSY rather, all putting up PCs for the winners and for the MVP award as well. So make sure you go and support.
And again, big thanks to the main sponsors, L'Oreal, Men Expert, Intel, and the Chiefs for putting on this beautiful competition, which has certainly been very entertaining so far. But for now, that's it from us here. It's going to be Konki and Komodo coming at you next. We'll see you tomorrow.
If lag's ruining your online gaming, it's time to do something about it with Game Path. By using machine learning and accessing hundreds of points of presence, it ensures your game's data is always on the fastest path available. That means with Game Path, lag is typically reduced by 30%, as well as improving the overall stability and smoothness of the game. Game Path, just $10 a month for our fastest, smoothest gaming connection. Begin your 1 month free trial today. It starts with yes.
Get elite real-world performance for your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors. If you're looking to game, create, live stream, or stay productive, 10th Gen Intel Core processors deliver an optimal balance of frequency, cores, and threads to handle real-world usages. Get enthusiast-level performance with an Intel Core i9 processor, up to 5.3 GHz clock speed for peak gaming performance and content creation workloads. Or for competitive gameplay and content creation, choose an Intel Core i7 with up to 5.1 GHz clock speed to handle your demanding applications. The Intel Core i5 processor with up to 4.8 GHz gives you a seamless AAA gaming and entertainment experience. And with up to 4.6 GHz clock speed, the Intel Core i3 is a great fit for everyday tasks and productivity. If you're looking to push your system even further, get additional performance headroom with unlocked 10th Gen Intel Core processors, supported by Intel's advanced overclocking controls. Bring elite real-world performance to your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors.
If lag's ruining your online gaming, it's time to do something about it with Game Path. By using machine learning and accessing hundreds of points of presence, it ensures your game's data is always on the fastest path available. That means with Game Path, lag is typically reduced by 30%, as well as improving the overall stability and smoothness of the game. Game Path, just $10 a month for our fastest, smoothest gaming connection. Begin your 1-month free trial today. It starts with yes. Get elite real-world performance for your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors. If you're looking to game, create, live stream, or stay productive, 10th Gen Intel Core processors deliver an optimal balance of frequency, cores, and threads to handle real-world usages. Get enthusiast-level performance with an Intel Core i9 processor, up to 5.3 GHz clock speed for peak gaming performance and content creation workloads. Or for competitive gameplay and content creation, choose an Intel Core i7 with up to 5.1 GHz clock speed to handle your demanding applications. The Intel Core i5 processor with up to 4.8 GHz gives you a seamless AAA gaming and entertainment experience. And with up to 4.6 GHz clock speed, the Intel Core i3 is a great fit for everyday tasks and productivity. If you're looking to push your system even further, get additional performance headroom with unlocked 10th Gen Intel Core processors, supported by Intel's advanced overclocking controls. Bring elite real-world performance to your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors. If lag's ruining your online gaming, it's time to do something about it with Game Path. By using machine learning and accessing hundreds of points of presence, it ensures your game's data is always on the fastest path available. That means with Game Path, lag is typically reduced by 30%, as well as improving the overall stability and smoothness of the game. Game Path, just $10 a month for our fastest, smoothest gaming connection. Begin your 1 month free trial today. It starts with yes.
Alrighty. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with the L'Oreal Men Expert Valorant Invitational, of course, hosted by the Chiefs and brought to you by Intel as well. My name is Mitch Conky Cannon. Alongside me is the ever handsome Dion Komodo Perrotta. Dion, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing quite well, Mitch. I've been able to just reign in the glory, just watch all of these matches, feel out what's going on, and, witness some, I guess maybe some unexpected results coming into this one. It's been pretty cool.
Exactly. Like, I'm only just checking now, basically through VLR and looking at through some of these things. We've seen Mindfreak beat Legacy, but then they turn around and somehow manage to beat EXO. Order have smashed Kanga. Notick beat Avant. Like, all these crazy upsets are happening, and this is why we spoke about how excited we were for this competition coming into it. It's our first real big invitational since since those last couple. Obviously, we had Konkmoto, we had the Order event and everything like that. So, man, we are having a really, really exciting time right now.
Yeah, seeing some of those returning teams as well coming into this invitational, really trying to prove themselves in the region. A bit of a different change in the lineups as well. You mentioned the likes of Order, previously Team Launch and stuff. You got the Legacy crew now coming into Valorant as well. It's really cool to just see these individuals start to get into Valorant and more deeper into the scene.
Yeah, well, exactly. We spoke about it on the Run It Back podcast only on Wednesday, basically mentioning how, the game's been out for a little over 6 months now, like 9 to a year almost, if you include the beta. Like, 2020 is almost over. Like, how crazy is it that we've been going through that? But now you start to see the rosters really settle. That's when we're going to be able to work out who's going to be good, who's going to fall away, and, whether or not the advantages. So that's the coolest thing. Everyone who has now come from different games all sort of understand the game from a fundamental level, and we're starting to see different locations mesh. So that's really exciting for me, and obviously we've got a banger of a game that we're going to be casting. A huge shout to Mac and Avril, who brought you through the first couple of games on the broadcast as well. But yeah, Dion, let's sort of break down roughly. Obviously, we're going to be able to get into the teams and everything, but we've got a pretty good one, and I know you were pretty excited for it. Order versus Avant.
Yeah, so Order are currently sitting at the top of this quote group stage and everything in their own one, currently leading at the top. Then you've got Notick, and I actually bring it into it. I have been thoroughly impressed watching Notick throughout this invitational so far. Pixel, Stellar as always, really bringing it in, and then with the crew backing him up in that roster, they've been able to get some really cool things happening.
Yeah, man. Well, the only thing that we're really seeing here is how crazy is that Group A result right now. Every single team going 1 for 1. There was some discussions. Is Legacy and Rip and Tag going to sort of fall away behind it? How is Mindfreak going to look with their new roster? And yeah, I'm very surprised to see sort of Kanga sitting at the bottom. I guess the only real unsurprising quote unquote result that we're seeing is obviously Order sitting at the top of that group. So great to see that they've managed to pull out a 2-0 so far, given that they've got the new additions of obviously Autumn and Disco, who have recently come into the fray. So we're going to be able to see them again, obviously very, very soon up against AVANT, who actually AVANT haven't changed their roster at all, given the time that they've taken to come into this.
Yeah, no, you're right about that one. Once upon a time, it's the Control Boys, but of course brought under the fold of this Avant roster, or the Avant organization rather. So it's Lakers, Watt, Xe Spec, and Major, unlike the previous little shenanigan mention of M4 Jaw, which is a kind of fun as well. But yeah, really going to be expecting, Lakers on that operator to come out really big like he did in the first matchup that we did see for Avant. So if they can bring it back like that, then maybe we see some really good things come out. That was against Kanga, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, no, exactly right. So, man, look, I tell you, Order, that's the one that we're all sort of, keeping an eye on. We've seen plenty of Avant over the time, but now we're going to be seeing Autumn, of course, on that Jet operator, taking it over from Tux, who used to sort of run around with it. Obviously, Texas move away from the Sage. We're now seeing him sort of on those duelists. Disco also coming into the fray, but man, this is such a beastly roster that we're looking at right now.
So you mentioned that there as well. We've actually had a little bit of shakeups coming into it. So the Order versus Notick matchup that was just previously had, where it went into the overtime status, Order actually winning 15-13 over on Ascent. We saw Order actually picking up the Cypher. Tux back on that Jet operator, and Texas not even floating around on the duelist. He was actually on Breach, which was actually really interesting to watch. So Order, they're starting to, I guess, try to find out where the two new additions will fit within that team.
Yeah, well, That's exactly what we sort of want to look like, right? You know, the coolest thing about this game is how versatile you can be depending on the map, depending on the champion. You know, obviously all of these different players, if they're fundamentally good enough with their mechanics, they can obviously pick up some different things depending on their play style, of course. So nice to see, obviously, you know, someone like Tux can jump back into that jet operator because obviously there's been so many changes in the meta right now, you know, flash meta coming in. So yeah, rocking into the game right now. We're not too far away. Dion, what are you sort of thinking about what we might see in regards to the veto?
Split is an interesting one that'll probably get banned out here. You know, between these two teams, it might look to go over towards Ascent and everything. But from the history, I mean, judging from everything that I've witnessed on this lineup and the favoritism maps, I wouldn't be surprised if we go over to you know the sort of Bind or Haven.
Okay, interesting. Well, I've just been told we're actually going to be going into Bind. So this is a very challenging one. Of course, a map like Bind does have the tendency to be extremely sort of, defending sided. But of course, you know, the Australian scene, of course, anything can happen. You know, sometimes on the attacking side, they'll be able to take that control. I'm interested to see how they're going to play this, you know, where they're going to be able to put the utility from either the Cypher or the Killjoy. I'm just excited to see what characters we're actually going to see come out because in my time, coming back to the game, you know, sort of more recently, I know that Killjoy's been heavily nerfed. You know, there's all these different changes that are happening, and that is going to be the most exciting thing to me as soon as we get into the server.
Yeah, well, we actually haven't seen Order play Bind in this Invitational just yet. They've played over on Ascent and Haven, where AVANT have played on Bind. So they recently just played it against Kanga. It went 13-11, so as close as you can get before getting into that overtime status. So it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to be able to start things off nicely in this map.
So we are moving into Bind, of course, guys. It's the L'Oreal Men Expert Valorant Invitational hosted by the Chiefs, supported by Intel. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Once again, it is the Conk Moto duo, Mitch Conky Concannon, backed up by Dion Komodo Perrotta. Let us roll straight into this one, the final of the group stage that we'll be seeing at least on the main channel, unless we need some spicy old tiebreakers later on tonight. But now, moving into Bind. Order versus AVANT, baby. Let's go.
So Order on this defensive side, starting it off, it is going to touch on that jet of course, got a little bit of from the board. The omens are going to be prevalent right now, but the TP is instantly being pulled through from Order to wrap around toward this A location. Tux is going to find one to start things off. Spesh is taking a lot of damage, is down quite low. There's no Sages in the mix, so they're not going to get the HP on up, but the Spike is going to rotate over towards B, where there is a stack of 3 from Order.
Revealing area.
Let's see what we can do here as we try to defend, moving up. Disco being able to find one. Texter on that breach, dropping a second as well. Very nicely defended. And now, unfortunately, it is all just onto that Sova of Spesh now, walking onto the other side of B Long. And already things are coming out. But there we go. Dick Stacy goes down. However, Disco is there for the trade on that Omen. So yeah, man, very nicely done to start off here in a dominant fashion for Order. Of course, you know, they're looking to top the group of a 3-0 position where AVANT, they need to continue to truck on and see what they can do. Obviously, you know, they're coming into this competition as one of those, prestige teams. And if they don't really put something up against Order, that might sort of see trouble for them later on in the competition.
You're exactly right that in they mentioned a little bit of trouble spelling in for AVANT right now as they do drop out that pistol. Ultimately, they don't get a purchase into this second round. But, you know, with what we've seen over the FPS titles recently, those second rounds, they definitely can be claimed out by the pistols. So any slip up by Order right now could actually spell a little bit of disaster. I did notice that the Spectres are brought up. So your second round Ghost isn't going to be here that we all know that you love.
Ego play. But moving out onto the site, Lakers is going to be the man to dash in initially, and there's Major finding one on the raise. Texter going down. Look at this control already, though. I think we actually might see something from Lakers, but no, in the end, Disco does good damage. He's able to drop him now, holding on to the elbow position. Dick Stacy finding another. Major does go down, but Dick Stacy, he can continue to find more. Handsome champion for a handsome man as now the satchel to come out. A great shot there from old mate Autumn. And it's going to be Tux to close it out. So another relatively clean round, but that was well done by AVANT to find the spike plan.
Yeah, exactly right. They're able to just bully themselves in toward it with the lesser weaponry. A bit of damage dealt over towards Order, but ultimately only that single kill. We do mosey on into the third round where we know the purchase is going to be coming through for AVANT. I'm interested, though, in when we're going to see operators be brought out into this game. Because, you know, it costs quite a bit of cash. It costs, 5,000 credits. So quite costly, especially if you don't really have the backup of all of the rifles behind it. So for right now, still early stages. It is the 5 Vandals for AVANT, which is quite interesting. No Spectres there, Phantoms, sorry. But on the flip side, the Spectres of 3 and Texter and Autumn on those Ghosts. Expecting some aggression from them, and I'm not disappointed already. Tucks over towards this A-short area, toward the back of TP. Lake just starting off on Texter, and push through with the pistols is starting to get a little bit interesting. They're only finding one.
Interesting to come out here so far, because already it's back to that 4 versus 2. And one of the things that I do want to touch on is they do start to rotate around now. You know, Avant looking to head their way back towards that B site. We're not seeing any Cypher or Killjoy, so it's going to be pretty much just a straight move as a unit. Of course, if we do have the Sovers, so there's some sort of utility to go along with it there. But aside from that, it's an all-out brawl setup. You know, no Sage either on the healer. Yeah, so I guess, you know, it's something that sort of interests me as the meta continues to shift in a game like this. You know, Riot, they're very, very heavy with their balancing and quite regularly looking at those champions. So now as Order start to mosey their way on over towards the B retake position, they're just going to be sitting up. The recon drone will start to head out, and let's see if it spots out anything, but no, it's going to be closed away. So this is basically, you know, pretty much a done and dusted round picked up for Avant, which is a very solid way to respond after losing out the first 2.
And if they can continue with this as well, get as many rounds as possible on this offensive side, usually, you know, you'd be, I guess, comfortable with finding 5. Anything more would be pretty decent, as we do see these extremities not look to be held from Order right now. They will fall back, although Autumn is going to walk on up towards the fountain, see if he can splash and find a little bit of extra damage to TP for Avant. They'll all save in this weaponry, but it is the first round on the board for them. And now we start getting into the pool where Order are going to be able to come out with their own purchases right now. And it kind of feels in my mind, you know, once upon a time for this roster, they might have just looked to absolutely clean house when it came to bind, right? But it feels like a little bit of a different structure coming into them when, you know, they've had these 2 new players be brought in. Maybe there's still a little bit of a grace period for them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're not going to see the operator come out just yet. It does appear that Tux does have the Blade Storm, but no other ultimates for anyone else across the board. But relatively even in regards to frags, Exy still yet to get on the board, but look, still plenty of game ahead as we move into round number 4. Of course, Avant still faring off on that offensive side. And now, taking a little bit of a slower approach. The Owl drone to go out through the end of showers, and this looks like slowly the Omen starting to creep on up. Doesn't get anything to pop out as it does start. But look, you know, at the end of the day, no real trades out of information. They're just looking to see if any aggression will come up short. And Autumn is up there on the raise, but still yet to overextend.
Yeah, so a minute to go on that clock right now. Starting to pique some interest in towards the site right now. Lakers to clear some corners, though. Autumn to hold close with the Spectre. Could do some nice damage. And the first kill will be found onto Lakers as well. The blast pack will tickle Special's fancy. Not too much damage, however, but this will certainly hinder Avant's approach going into the remainder of this round. And the penetration through the smoke, especially, will return onto Awesome. Though, you know, the spike, it hasn't been able to rotate cleanly over towards the B side. It is still looking to be A for Avant.
Taking their time. And just a quick little match update as well right now. We've got Notick
30 seconds left.
11-0 above Kanga right now, so that's pretty wild to think about. But now, trying to head their way out. It will be what? Trying to get onto the site, but Tux is going to be ready for it. So the Shadow Step not going to come through, but Major does find the trade. So it's still back down to a 3 versus 2. Now, 2 versus 2, rather. The spike will be planted. 12 seconds remain. We've got Dick Stacy with the Sova. The recon bolt does go out, but Major, he has had an excellent round here so far. The old fault line will come out to at least sort of cause a bit of a stop, but then Satchel charging over the other side, moving to where the spike is planted. They're keeping an eye on him. They're going to continue to try force him back. Dick Stacy has a very, very big task ahead to try and recover this spike plant, and that is a very, very well played round from Avant. They're going to look over as a unit, and Major to find 3. Excellently played by the Breach, and also the Raise to find a second round for Avant.
And Avant will know that Dick Stacy was stunned out by the fault line as well, because they'll be able to hear the slowness come through from the bullets that Dick Stacy was shooting. So they reposition themselves well, not even destroying the recon bolt, because they know in the 2 versus 2 situation that they could be wide swung in it. So an experienced collective coming on through for Avant. They're able to just hold true and then maneuver around with their utility, go into the favorable 2 versus 1 against Dick Stacy, and just wait it out, hold the angle at the same time together, because time is a factor in that bit. Dick Stacy is pressured. So very well played for Avant. We tie up 2-2 right now, and Texter is going to start off by finding X, and that's just early kill in the pick that Avant, it's going to hurt them right now.
Look at the control already from Tux. He's already moved his way through Shower, and with that Blade Storm, he will be able to pick up the frag on a Spesh. But the thing I was thinking about is the fact that the AVANT roster hasn't really changed in any way, shape, or form. You know, we talk about sort of, agent choosing and everything along those lines. But basically, the only difference here is Exy typically would play that Cypher or the Killjoy, but now he obviously sits here on the Breach. So that's really the only change by the way of AVANT, whereas Order have had a very big change. And speaking of change, Tux is going to be changing Mage's Alive status, finding the frag. So second Blade Storm kill, obviously, for everyone playing along at home. This does reset every time you do find the frag. So well done from Tux. He's been able to do a lot in sort of what is a bit of a motley buy coming out for Order.
No return from AVANT in this round just yet, which is quite concerning for them. It's really just been, Tux steering the narrative with these blades coming out of that Blade Storm. So as we do transition over towards the B site, there's just going to be the really passive-natured held to come through from Order, and they'll just collapse here when they hear the spike. They could literally let AVANT go in to try and get that spike plant down for a 5 versus 2 comfortable retake, and now all this utility starting to come down. What is going to be planting the spike? Lakers is quite vulnerable. Will manage to dodge against the 2 shock darts right now, but all of the members of Order are getting in towards this site. Tux has been taken down, but Lakers' position known. He'll need the 1 versus 5 essentially ace right now, but it's Texter to decapitate him, and the defuse will come through.
It's funny, those kind of situations, I felt like it was going to be Lakers having members peek into him 1 by 1. But, when you're facing off against a team that's as experienced as Order is, only obviously in Valorant now and previously CS, of course, they aren't going to be letting those situations go begging. So Lakers not given the opportunity. Was good to find the spike plant at least. Very, very well rewarded for them. But now it stands at the 3-2 scoreline. Obviously, Order taking back the lead, and they're going to have the full purchase in here now. The operator that we speak about, of course, that's going into the hands of Tux. But looking at the econ right now on the side of AVANT, it looks like Lakers, he's just going to be going for that Blade Storm, picking up the Sheriff as the secondary, and a Spectre for Major. The rest of them got the Vandals, so let's see how they choose to play this one, whether there might be something a little bit quicker to come out from AVANT.
Well, for AVANT, they are hoping that they find a little bit of damage on those blades, and maybe Major can upgrade his weaponry. His Showstopper will be able to help in that situation as well. But Autumn is going to push through the bathrooms right now and just penetrate what straight through the wall. A little bit of bullying just there that AVANT, it just feels time and time again they aren't able to find these openers, and they are relying to get the returned picks or the returned info. But now in towards this A site, Rolling Thunder comes through. Dick Stacy finds 2 picks, and this is just really putting impact in towards AVANT. Dick Stacy for 4 kills. That is flawless.
We're going to have the replay to come through for that one, I am sure, but a massive 4K from the Big Dick himself. Very nicely done on the Sova. So yeah, 4 kills with the Vandal. And that's obviously going to put the AVANT side into a bit of a predicament, I suppose. They're still going to be able to purchase in here 3 Vandals. Make that 4. Just going to offer the half shield into the hands of Watt. But it's a Bulldog coming out for Spesh. The rest of the members, again, comfortable. But we need to see a little bit of momentum, because that was very, very punishing from Order to pretty much crush them out of the A site with no real response.
Feels like AVANT is slipping in the aggression and in the passive approaches right now. Order just getting out these opening kills, and if they don't even find the opener, they're really just retaliating with more than AVANT being able to find. And Tux, it's a bit uncharacteristic for him to miss the operator shot just there, but he will fall back towards the site into Dick Stacy, who is at this B site right now. Autumn looking to get more aggressive. I do love the aggression coming out from Order. I was
literally just about to say that.
Capitalizing on the kills, There isn't a return coming out from AVANT. And look at that. Spesh has the angle, the proper peak. He just has his head taken off, and now Tux finds 1. Looking for a second, it will get traded on through, but already damage is done. AVANT, they have 2 members remaining now.
It's so funny, man. I know I've been casting with you for really, really long when I was just about to comment on the exact same thing, but nah, exactly. The Autumn aggression coming in on that raise. Very nicely done. But that's going to be another frag found by Major, at least able to drop Texter in the process, but it's Dick Stacy who's been the menace, and he is still up and alive, heading back towards the elbow position, and they have to teleport up. Watt obviously does have the capability rather to do so, so he's going to be joining made on the site, but in the end, he actually gets taken down by Dick Stacy, so now Spike recovered, but Dick, he's going to walk straight through, and that is 7 frags in back-to-back rounds here. Very nicely done.
He's being an absolute menace. He's just absolutely ripping out all the kills where need be. And, you know, usually on a Sova, you wouldn't see this sort of agent be the big impact, the big kills. You usually see them playing that sort of supporting role, you know, trying to set up your teammates to get them. But if you change up your style completely, you can do whatever you want around the agent's kit, you know, all of their abilities. You can kind of, you know, direct yourself whichever way you want to see. And that's what works really well for a team like this in Order. You know, they've got a massive FPS history behind them, and their individual capabilities with the guns, they'll be relying on them more so than the abilities.
Exactly right. And how good is that Intel replay right there? I tell you what, you know, picking up the old Swift man, of course, for the L'Oreal Men Expert Chiefs Invitational. Always a good strip for sure to have him over here and doing the work that we love. Great to be on the broadcast again, casting some Valorant once more. It's a very nice pick there from XC. I like the over-aggression out towards mid, being able to find that frag, because obviously here we only do really see the Sheriffs, you know, the economy of AVANT in a bit of a predicament, but they're going to at least get rewarded a little bit now, moving their way over towards the A site. But Tux, he's going to be able to pick up one, and a very aggressive play through the Omen smoke once more. Does choose to fall back. I'm loving the versatility because, of course, anyone who might be a little bit newer to Valorant, you know, Jet does give you the capability to be able to go for those big aggressive picks. But now look at this, the Autumn, the Showstopper, sorry, to come out, and at least Lake is able to find him before it is traded, and that is the Vandal going down. But now Disco already has that control to come on up. XC, very good flash though to come out from him.
Planted.
Now Tux looking to hold that line. They are both going to move in towards the lamps there. XC able to find it on a Disco. Tux still holding that line. Dick Stacy though, he's alive still. And again, we know how impactful he has been in these previous rounds. The Cloudburst to go out, and look at the health on these members, you know, two so low. And Dick Stacy, he's gone in for the information play, but Tux has to try and hold it. That will be the ultimate to come out for the breach. Now Spesh, at least find one, but Tux in this 1 versus 2. They are split up. There's one in the showers, one inside U-Haul, but he's going to be moving on out. And that is another round picked up here from AVANT, a third. And it's so funny just trying to pick up these ability names on the fly again.
AVANT have done really well there to get
Rolling
that plant
Thunder
down as well. And I was going to say, you know, the Rolling Thunder available to buy time for the Spike Diffusal, you know, Order, they had to get in there. But just the ultimate abilities, Red and Wait, AVANT, they've got, you know, the denial and slowness to come out from the Rolling Thunder, the pushback from it. But then they've also got the Hunter's Fury if that defuse starts to come out. So Order, you know, a bit of a pickle thrown their way that they aren't really able to get anything really done with except a couple of kills. But the more important scenario now is they keep this weaponry into the next round. And I can't remember, Mitch, the last time I've seen a double operator being brought out in this game.
Yeah, well, look, as we all know, the operator got basically nerfed into the ground, but it is still a viable option for your sharper players. So it's not quite as dominant as it was once upon a time, but this time we're going to boost the Autumn and Tux going for that double operator setup. So still, look, at the end of the day, 3 rounds on the attacking side of Bind is not something you can really laugh at. You know, they've done well so far to be able to find plenty, and if they do find another round, they might be able to do a little bit of further economic damage that can be rewarded well. But look at that pick found by Tux again. This man is incredible because look at the aggression that he's picked up. He's moved all the way down long, completely solo, and he still has that control as well. Major might not even be ready for it. Has to satchel across, and Tux does miss that shot. I was almost going to say, you know, luck on the way of Tux. He was potentially even going to be able to find that frag, but now Spesh looking to take the control up towards U-Haul. Will they be looking towards him as the operator of Autumn is in the position just outside the showers, and that is going to be the fate of Watt. But now, the 2 versus 4. Disco's going to drop Major, and unfortunately, it's all left onto Spesh. What's he going to be able to do here in the 1 versus 4?
Well, they need to bring out something special right now. The Hunter's Fury available. Recon Bolt already used, but he has been blistered on down through that box, and the swing comes out from Order. They look to do it together, but it's Tux's Sheriff to say, how do you do? That's going to be the 6th round of Order, at least now establishing that they have a draw at the first half conclusion, no matter what. But it's going to be onto AVANT to try and chase it back. They will be permitted to purchase right now, get something happening, and you see Autumn there attempting out that quick scope courtesy on this Intel replay. It's actually Disco to steal the kill, but I would say if Disco didn't get the kill, that quickscope definitely would have.
It's so nice to see, you know, the confidence coming out from Order. And that's one of the things that I guess does quite fare well in Valorant. You know, if you've got the ability, kind of flexing on the enemies a little bit, you know, it does reward aggressive play and confidence. And That is one of the things I do like about this game most. Unless I'm in matchmaking getting stomped by a Jet. But now Major, he's moved in the way towards, and obviously the Hunter's Fury coming out from Spesh. That will be Sova taking down Sova, and now Texter. He's got a big task ahead, but he will be able to get the flashpoint out, and that is a great one. Xy's going to go down here, but look at this control now. Texter needs to establish. Will Watt be able to swing it? Yes, he will, but Autumn, good for the response. It's now into a 2-on-2. Watt has to go for something. He will be able to find the damage, and look at it drop Disco, but Disco will find it. Omen to Omen, and now onto the Raze. Will Major be able to find anything? Disco going for the swing and finding the frag, and there will be a 7th round to come down from Order, but Chaos on the B site here of Bind, and it looks like an operator will even be recovered just for good measure. He's looking for it. I think he knows one's in CT. There we go. Yes, it will be picked up, but well played from Disco in the 1v3 clutch.
Yeah, Chaos is definitely a word that you can contribute over to that round. I'd like the play from Avant, you know, to go aggressive in through toward the stands, short of B, to get in towards Hookah. I like that the flash actually did blind out Tux, and he actually used his Blade Storm as he was blinded, and nothing came through. Completely out of the round, but you see in all of the chaos, all of the carnage at the end of the round, Disco finding some opportune timing to peek on through, not lose his life in that engagement there, as Major will have his head taken on through, and narrowly Order will claim their 7th round. But, you know, the funds for Avant, they really are just reaching into the bottom of those pockets. You can see that Lakers has brought out my favorite gun in the Guardian, only some light shields to back it up for 2 of the members of Avant right now as well. And it does kind of feel, you know, we got 2 more rounds to play with in this half. Have Avant found enough information and the weaknesses of Order to claim these 2?
One in a very awkward situation there. Does get taken down to 10 as well. You know, the aggression through showers is rewarding Order right now. He will at least be able to recover and join his teammate, but there you go. The Guardian frag found by Lakers, as he does manage to drop Texter, who hasn't actually been having the spiciest of games. But, you know, look, at the end of the day, when the rest of your team is kind of showing up and stepping up, what can you really do about it? The old paint shells will come out, but Major is going to punish Autumn for doing so. Dick Stacy, though, good for the response of the frag. Now it looks like Lakers has chosen to pick up another weapon, but Tux and Dick Stacy, this is beautiful. Mwah! As they walk on out as a unit, finding 2 frags, and ultimately now it is to a 3 versus 2. Obviously, Tux still sitting inside that CT position, but it looks like the control has been taken by Watt, allowing Spesh a bit of time to waltz on up towards this site. But one of the key factors in a game like Valorant is establishing the post plan. No, Watt, that is unfortunate. Going for the aggressive play, which was exactly the right choice there, but now it's going to be all on a Spesh in a 1 versus 3 here, Dion.
Order looking like a well-oiled machine to just roar on that racetrack, looking to find Special. Good for one, make a second one, but he will get eliminated by Disco. Again, the last member surviving for Order and getting out a technical clutch. Great damage from Special, and, you know, despite to go down, an attempt from Watt over towards CT on those vents to try to capitalize on Tux's location. But Tux, man, just to get Watt through the wall, he was on something like 30 HP, so the wall bang to come on through, easy as you does it. But 8 rounds now for Order. If they make it a 9-3 half and we don't really see some explosiveness from Avant in the beginning of the flip, you know, it could be a heartbreaking defeat for them on a massive scale. So really going to rely on them to try and find the 4th round right now and find that pistol and carry on with it to, I guess, break themselves in with a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, exactly. And Tux, you know, 13-6, Dick Stacy 11-5. These are scores that you can't really laugh at. And, you know, Disco and Autumn, they're also having a really good run as well. So this is excellently played coming out from Order. Of course, you know, it is still a position where Avant can do something, but like, Autumn can basically walk in there for free, and now the showstopper to come out. He should surely find another. We'll be able to drop XC. There's Tux to find Lakers, and this is starting to look very, very disconnected from Avant, which is not something you'd be expecting coming into a series like this. But, you know, of course, after having that loss to Notick, there we go. Autumn with another frag on the Raze. It's a big 3K. Now it's all on a Spesh, and already moving in with that aggression. Didn't even get to pull it out, but now the Owl Drone to move on in. He might be able to do something. Hunter's Fury, though, is going to hold him back, and that makes it very, very awkward, allowing Disco the time to walk on in. But Dick Stacy just playing the old bait and switch there as the remaining members move into the showers, taking down the members, and now it's a 9-3 scoreline, as we spoke about, moving into the pistol, and this could be very well done and dusted if Order are successful in finding that pistol. And they are going to be moving onto the offensive side, sure, but regardless, you know, if they've got that momentum being brought over from the previous couple of rounds, I think they could be closing this one out pretty early. But look, you never want to say done is done. We can still see plenty of things turn around.
Yeah, I've observed in this game so far that Order are, you know, just doing things together time and time again, swinging where they want to. You know, everybody is really cohesive as a unit, just like you want your PC to be. And all of the prizes are going to be supplied by these glorious partners right now. You see it down there: Mwave, Centacom, Intel, Scorptech, PLE, and MSY. Thank you very much for assisting in this L'Oreal Men Expert Invitational. We absolutely love it on through. And those PCs, did you see them, Conky? They are absolutely amazing.
Man, incredible. And we wouldn't expect anything less from companies like that, of course. You know, we are very, very blessed inside the Oceanic region to have great supporting parties. But speaking of support, you know, it's going to be AVANT that does need some, but already on this flank, it's a full 5 versus 5. And Tex is going to be able to find that spike plan on the breach. Spotted out, though, Spesh. The information, but moving on in. God, that is beautiful. This man is incredible. Autumn finding 2, and he's pushed around the elbow. He's looking to find 3 as XC is in a 1 versus 4. He's been able to spot out at least 1, but he's getting onto that defuse. Surely not. There is no absolute way. He has to get off. Does get it a half, but Tux will find the closer. And oh my word, that play from Autumn was incredible.
Yeah, coming out flawless with that pistol, that classic, of course. The left-right good night for the side of AVANT, and they do ultimately drop out the pistol. You see here, courtesy of the Intel replay, there is that right click that will send what 6 feet under, and you know, an attempt at that defuse to come on through by the last remaining soldier in XE, but he gets dinked on down and unfortunately does get punished by the manpower, the prowess of the Order side. And you know, we're gonna see AVANT force into this one. They know that their position in Order are a little bit weakened at the status of, you know, being so early in on this second half, but really, if you're looking at the narrative right now, the story is just being told by Order.
Absolutely, they are playing fantastically, and it's, I guess, something that you would quote-unquote expect, right, from a roster of this caliber, especially given all the time that they've been putting into practice. You know, obviously, Once Upon a Time was launch and ground zero for Autumn and Disco, but both these players joining up and coming, you know, a long way, and it is nice to see basically the result of hard work inside the early stages of the Valorant community. Very, very elite among this group of players. And yeah, all 8 teams in this competition, you know, certainly equipped, certainly capable. And yeah, oh my God, even just knowing as well, you know, some of the OPL rosters that have picked up some new teams, things that we're going to see coming in over these next few weeks is going to be huge. But there we go, Tux to find his way out to drop XE, and that's going to be an opening pick for Order once more.
Oh no. Lakers has lost the corner of the smoke, and now Tux prowling through the smoke will find Spesh. The cookie's already crumbled right now for AVANT. It's ultimately just burnt into pieces.
Oh, no.
Major's even shooting his teammates, or at least attempting to, but they're starting to get these frags back. They need to get into the defuse, however. A little bit of a ring around the rosy to potentially come out from Tux, or Texter, as he's floating around the elbow position, as you've got Dick, Stacy, and Hooker as well. They just need to buy time right now, rely on a little bit of the disconnectional plays to come out from AVANT. Dick, Stacy to find Major, and now it is just down to what? On that spike, the fake tap comes out on through, but that'll force out Order into it, and they will see him, and they will find him. The returned purchase from AVANT not going their way. You would see them potentially cop an eco right now and try to bring it back into an overtime status, but it is definitely a high mountain to climb.
Man, Tux again, you know, it's so awesome to see him doing so well, you know, in a game that's obviously outside of CS. It's been a little while now, and I'm still certainly sort of rubbing my eyes a little bit, you know, at all the changes that have occurred over time. But man, it's excellent. Like, if Order continues to be this strong, all I can really do is just think about how exciting it's going to be to see them against international teams in the future once everything does start to settle down, which it is, at least in our region. You know, shout out to everyone who has been working hard to stay good, as Melbourne obviously does start to open up as well. But now looking Dick Stacy finding 2 almost. He might be able to pick up that second here. He will indeed, as it is a blinded Major. Exactly right. The old flashpoints to come out. And now it is all on to just Spesh. 1 versus 4. He is in a position where they're yet to spot him out, but there we... Oh my God, when the confidence comes out from a player like Autumn, what can you even do?
Match point.
Well, it would seem like nothing right now. Order just have a sixth sense on exactly what AVANT are doing, and if they don't have the reads, they have the right idea in where to aim those crosshairs straight over to the heads of AVANT, chop them on up, and now we could potentially seeing a bit of a massive scoreline defeat if AVANT aren't able to at least get a couple of rounds from here on out. They're already pushed up against that wall. Lakers again on that Guardian, the light shields to come out behind them. But you look at the Order team, right? You've got the big bunch up between three of those players, and the remaining two, they are being the really assistive and passive natured players to just throw out that util where they need. Right now, we're trying to storm in towards the B site. Lakers is good for one. He's punished out by Order, and Order have control.
Where Tux is though already, he's immediately into CT, and there is the one member of XE out towards Long that hasn't been spotted yet on that breach, and already the flank starting to come in just on the opposing side of Hookah, but Autumn's ready for it, and you don't want to exactly be facing up against someone like him or even Dick Stacey at that matter, as XE now looking to try and find Tux, repositioning onto just the other side of the little cubby. What looking to spot out Dick Stacey as well, and that's a good recovery from Spesh. All under Dick Stacey. No, actually, I'm wrong. It is Disco, but he is around towards Elbow as Spesh will find him. And finally, a little bit of a recovery to come out from Avant, but man, they got to find 8 more rounds back-to-back to even think about winning here.
Yeah, it's not Panic at the Disco for Order by any means. It is, them just dancing around and grooving to the tunes right now. 8 rounds the difference, and there is going to be a buy to come through from Avant. But we're waiting on Lakers to get something out. It is going to be the Bladestorm. He does have that ultimate available, so he's going to rely upon it right now. But another round that Order are going to have this purchase in, and once again, it's really going to be any slip-ups from them, potentially to give Avant a round. And Avant, they're really going to have to find and push the momentum in this round. They are the team now that has to find everything.
And I've just been given a little update as Autumn does find that. I've just heard that Rip and Tear have somehow 13-7'd at Legacy after their success over EXO earlier on. This is a spicy meatball of a competition, but so is Major, finding 3 big kills on the Rays before getting taken down there. Texter to drop Spesh, and XE now has to try find something here. Texter, will he be spotted? He's on the way in towards U-Haul, and he's given away the information now. Knows the location, but XE does find it, and Lake is to drop Texter. Maybe we've got something still going in this matchup, Dion, but still, 7 rounds for Avant. It's certainly doable, but when you're facing down the barrel of one of the best teams in the region, it's going to be challenging. And now we see a weaker looking purchase, but I think given the momentum that Order have, they're just going to continue to buy and until this game is over.
Now, I wonder if Order are going to go for these aggressive plays still. Avant are seemingly realizing the fact on where to hold these positions and just let Order waltz in, capitalize on those kills. So maybe we see a bit of a slow pace come out from Order. Maybe we see a full execution come out in towards one of these sites. It starts to align towards this B area right now as Ninja peeks out through mid. He will find Autumn. A great flash as we do see it come on through. And Avant, they can withdraw. It's now onto Order to return the favor.
So how do they approach here, of course, at the man disadvantage? Texter looking to take some control back of Hookah. They have only left the one member there in XE, but it looks like we will have Major try and join the party shortly. But once again, Tux, very aggressive on out. They yet to rotate around. Tux not going to be spotting anything. Knows he has control of the site. But once again, what's going to be joining? And Dick Stacey is absolutely ready for it. Major just on the other side of the elbow smoke here. Waiting patiently, might hear the footsteps of Tux, and there we go. Tux being punished for being a busy little bee on that B side. Now XE trying to find some further damage, but they brought it back to this 4 versus 3 already. The rotate, though, starting to head back towards A. They do send the member of Spesh over there now, but it's going to be a challenge regardless. Spike should be planted here by Texter, but still, they've got a lot of defending work to do.
Spike planted.
Texter in getting that spike plant does afford him the Rolling Thunder, the ultimate to keep Avant at bay. And he's going to deploy it nice and early for his teammates to try and capitalize on kills. Disco lines up for 2. Major returns for 1, but there's nothing else on the back of that from Avant. A lie, Spesh finds Texter, and now it's all up into Dick Stacey. He is currently played in U-Haul or Lamps. The lights are on for Order as but they don't really know where he is playing from. The defuse is being stuck. The headshot from Spesh. Look how low the last member is as well in Major. He has to get on that spike because time's ticking away. 14 HP. He needs a headshot at least. They know where each other is, but it's all on a Dick Stacey. He's favored in this duel, and he will win it as well. Your victors in this match are Order 13-5.
13-5. What a result to come out from Order. Avant, certainly a valiant effort to try and bring it back, but there is the result that we are seeing right now. What they are going to see is Order sitting at 3-0 inside the competition, which is an incredible result to be coming through from this team. Tipped as one of the hot favorites, of course, next to EXO, but only coming in as that second seed into the competition. So very well done for Avant. They're going to be in a bit of a struggle position as they've only got 1-2. All of us will be able to find out how the rest of the competition sort of does sit and stand. But man, as well, just thinking about it, Rip and Tear after they've taken down Legacy, there's so much chaos inside Group B.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see who the ultimate winners are of each of the groups going through in towards this system, this invitational. But as we bring it back to this Order and Avant game right now, up on your screens, you can see Dick Stacey gets the most kills in that game on 20. But look how close, Tux and Order are to him. 19 and 18 in that reverse mention. So really contained as a tight unit on for Order. Disco doing all those kills where he needs to, those clutches coming out for him. And then Tekla, being a thorn in Avant's side with all of those flashpoints and the perfect utility coming out. It was really great to witness from Order. And, whilst you do have Major also getting in that kill department, it was just Avant as a whole getting punished as opposed to the individual players, kind of losing out everything.
Well, something you never really want to see if you're a team, of course. Major, such a hard carry, I guess you could really say, and only really special, sort of starting to meet the mark. Very out of character, I guess, from players you think about, like Lakers, of course, on that jet operator. Tux was able to be so exciting and so impactful. But, look, it is what it is. Obviously, Bind can be a challenging map to play if you don't have that momentum to continue to bring it through. But very well done from Order. Of course, they're going to be topping out their group 3-0. And again, it's going to be interesting to find out where the rest of everything stands. We will shortly be able to work out what we need to do, whether or not there's going to be a tiebreaker. That's obviously start of it. We'll be able to work it all out. But look, we're going to go to a very, very short break so we can settle that all down. But again, it is, of course, the L'Oreal Men Expert Valorant Invitational Chiefs presenting on this great show, Intel supporting. And, so before we do go to the break, though, Dion, break it down a little bit further, because how do you really sort of, if we're seeing something where Order are so far ahead, is anyone really going to be able to keep up with them in the competition?
Well, Notick has been able to push them towards overtime, and from things maybe expected, it might be those two teams going on through, just kind of memorizing the results that we've seen. But it is going to be on that other side of the bracket that, these teams might be facing against soon, that other group rather. So maybe the teams that get through, they might be able to give Order a little bit of the run for their money, but definitely, coming into it with the results that they've been able to find, I guess, bar that Notick one, it is looking like they are, looking to be the favorites right now and really put the punishment down and lay down that law. So I guess maybe if you look at it, potentially EXO clan might be able to, if they're going through in it as well. That matchup is going to be a spicy one as well. But I guess we'll wait and see for who is going to make it through.
Yeah, there we go. So I'm just looking at the scores on my side. So, of course, Rip and Tear took down Legacy 13-7. Obviously, we've just seen Order take down Avant 13-5. Notick Kanga 13-3. Like, man, there's been some really, really hectic results. EXO Clan and Mindfreak are just about to finish up, guys. Don't, stray away from that one at all. They are a bit, looks like it's about to be EXO to take it. It's currently 12-6. But, man, so many exciting things happening. That's one of the cool things, I suppose, about Valorant, in the sense that the games do go really, really fast, but they also are super explosive at the exact same time. So again, guys, we're going to be taking a very, very short break to work out what is going on. And we'll see you back to break it down a little bit further after these messages.
If lag's ruining your online gaming, it's time to do something about it with Game Path. By using machine learning and accessing hundreds of points of presence, it ensures your game's data is always on the fastest path available. That means with Game Path, lag is typically reduced by 30%, as well as improving the overall stability and smoothness of the game. Game Path, just $10 a month for our fastest, smoothest gaming connection. Begin your 1-month free trial today. It starts with yes.
Get elite real-world performance for your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors. If you're looking to game, create, live stream, or stay productive, 10th Gen Intel Core processors deliver an optimal balance of frequency, cores, and threads to handle real-world usages. Get enthusiast-level performance with an Intel Core i9 processor, up to 5.3 GHz clock speed for peak gaming performance and content creation workloads. Or for competitive gameplay and content creation, choose an Intel Core i7 with up to 5.1 GHz clock speed to handle your demanding applications. The Intel Core i5 processor with up to 4.8 GHz gives you a seamless AAA gaming and entertainment experience. And with up to 4.6 GHz clock speed, the Intel Core i3 is a great fit for everyday tasks and productivity. If you're looking to push your system even further, get additional performance headroom with unlocked 10th Gen Intel Core processors, supported by Intel's advanced overclocking controls. Bring elite, real-world performance to your desktop PC with 10th Gen Intel Core processors.
And we are back with the L'Oreal Men's Expert Valorant Invitational, brought to us by the Chiefs ESC, of course, and Intel, the lovely humans over there. And guys, don't forget to actually go and check out the Chiefs ESC Twitter at Chiefs ESC to have a look at that amazing giveaway that we've got coming through. The great guys over at Tag Mods, they're obviously chucking through some really incredible PCs that we've been looking, man. I tell you what, that Omen one, Jesus, man, always awesome to see some good stuff coming through from guys like that. But Dion, you know, we've had a couple of electric games, of course. You know, it was just Order versus AVANT, and it was a very dominant one. And then looking at the standings, which will be brought up for us shortly, we've seen a couple of upsets, and I'm actually kind of surprised about what we will actually, who are like top two of each group.
Yeah, if you put on paper, like at the beginning of this, when knowing who the groups are and everything, of course you'd be able to say, I think that this team definitely should be going through, and then out of the others, like maybe this one and this one, right? But looking at what they are, we're waiting for the graphic, as Mitch just said there. I think some people might be a little bit thoroughly surprised of what's going through and everything, and we'll explain more coming onto it later, of course, because with this group sort of setup, we can technically have some ties, and then it goes down into doing a little bit of that detective work to find out what the actual order is. So before we get to that, it's going to be really cool. But I guess, for the 3-0, we definitely know that order are going to be going through on that one, as we just witnessed that final map there. So, going into those games tomorrow, I think if they do, and if we do see Notick be brought forward as well, if that order versus Notick game, if that happens again, I wonder if it's going to be as close as it was today.
Well, I have actually been told that we will have that graphic very, very soon up on the screen. But until then, no, there we go. That's what I was hoping for. So we have got it in front of us. And this is exciting to both me and you. EXO Clan and Rippentear, they're actually tied up for first. I think it was, in the end, EXO Clan that managed to get through to the first spot if we talk like head-to-head rounds. But that is crazy. Seed number 8 and seed number 1 tied for first inside Group A, and that's going to be Mindfreak and Legacy. Legacy beat EXO Clan, and they are going home, which is quite incredible to think about. AVANT and Kanga fall away from Group B, and Notick is seed number 4. So this is actually, I guess, half estimated and half not at all. So what do you think?
I mean, going into this, right, I would have said order to go through from that Group B side, and I would have said maybe Notick or AVANT. So for Notick to get through for it, I think we still need to see a little bit more from them in terms of maybe into that best of 3 status if they're able to go toe-to-toe against, EXO Clan, Order, and Rippentear for that matter, because we know the history, personally, me and you, of all of these Rippentear players, so it's definitely going to be one to be seen there. But the shenanigans that came afoot in that Group A, as you mentioned, Legacy beating EXO, but now they're on the bottom, and they are on the bottom through the head-to-head tied scoreline with Mindfreak there. So just in those round differences, so a little bit unfortunate for them, but it is early stages for that Legacy roster. If you think about it, remember announced a little bit ago. So practice to come on forward. I'm sure it will be happening. So yeah, going forward into this EXO versus Order, going to be real interesting to see if that match comes on forward. But I think that maybe for all of those 4 teams, maybe we'd be looking towards Rippentear to really give us some good games, and Notick for that matter as well.
Exactly. So, man, I guess as we sort of speak about, I knew it was always going to be those Titans, seed 1 and 2, EXO versus Order. Of course, they're 2 incredible teams that have really been going toe-to-toe, because as we know, the very, very first big competition inside our region, which was the OVO event, then we obviously had the next one, I think it was the Fortress Run event that sort of happened, where it was each other taking the maps or the successes away. So the very, very first event, it was launched, now Order, and then followed backed up by EXO, who pretty much demolished them as well. So we've seen very, very one-sided results, and I'm hoping that now, after all the lineups have started to settle and come together, that's where the explosive games are going to come. And as we saw, obviously, from the results today, that's exactly what we know. So Rippentear, I am really excited for them to be able to bring it through, again, in that sort of tied first seed before they go into the next day, and Notick too, because Notick, I know they actually haven't sort of had their finalized roster. They've had sort of 6 or 7 different people on VLR and everything like that. So now to see them come in and fire up here is really cool to see for me as well.
No, I agree with you on that one. I was kind of glancing. I had all the games up when we were watching Mac and Avril up on the streams, and all the other community casters as well. Big shout outs to all of those guys who are putting forward, getting all of the games brought forward towards the community, which is really good to get them involved. But I sort of had them all up, and I was glancing to try and track which one they were, and I saw the Order versus Notick on my screen over there, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of close. And then I look at the other one, and then I go back, and it's in overtime, and I'm like, wow. Okay, Notick, taking Order towards overtime. Let's see what you guys have got. And then, as a Bay Order, they didn't demolish in overtime. It was still quite close, but they did ultimately win it in the end. So really going to be looking forward towards some Notick games tomorrow. But, on the flip side, I guess in EXO Clan dropping a map in this series, they're going to try and go into tomorrow, flawless. They don't want to lose anything, because they want to be dominating in this Invitational, because, they've got a championship to try and back up now.
That's exactly right. And I guess that's what the thing we are being, we're going to be able to see when we move into a day like tomorrow and, of course, Sunday. The competition is across these 3 days. So today being Friday, we've obviously seen the group stage. So that's where everyone has had the chance to play 3 different best of ones, which I think gives a prime opportunity to all the teams to, test the waters inside their group and everything like that. And then, of course, crunch time. When we move into tomorrow, we're going to have the best of 3s. Obviously, everyone can, pick and choose their maps. They've obviously still got that one ban. We don't have Icebox in yet. But until then, it's just going to be the standard 4 that we do see very, very regularly. So again, just the one ban, and then seeing who obviously picks which map and takes which side before the rest of the competition does go through. So, again, whether or not these series are going to go, 2-1 and that kind of stuff, we see the full series of the 3 maps come out. But yeah, I think it's going to be all my eyes on, of course. I am a little bit disappointed that Legacy didn't go through, and that's no bias. It's just the sense that to come out and beat EXO to then lose out of the competition, it's very, very strange to me, just because that's a crazy result. But then again, that's a sign that the roster can be really good and that it has, can be worked on over time. And I think the real trump card for me being Rip and Tear going into this one, are they going to cause chaos tomorrow as it all comes out as well?
You got to remember as well, though, sometimes BO1s, they're a fickle thing, right? You don't have the leisure being able to rely on something that might be your own map pick if you started off slow, to get warm up and to get into the thick of things. I would have actually liked to have seen when EXO lost to Legacy as well, because, if it was the first map, well, maybe, okay, EXO could have been a little bit cold. If it was in the middle, all right, understandable. If it was the last one as well, it's like, okay, maybe you guys, fatigue, probably not. It's the 3 maps there, but, it is what it is there. Going into the BO3s tomorrow, it is going to be, if you are cold in the beginning, look to bring yourselves up, look to get heated and bounce back, because you do have, all 3 maps that can be played out.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's one of the best parts about a competition like this. We're going to have 4 of the best teams now, signed up in the region that are going to be duking it out to show who is the best, because a lot of the other competitions that we've had, of course, again, it still is very, very early on in the game. Obviously so many of these teams are still like learning what's our best champion, what's our best map pool, what is going to be happening. As more agents come out, there's going to be agent bans, there's going to be meta changes, there's going to be all these different things. And as the players who didn't come from, say, like a CSGO background, where they're used to that 5v5 format, we've obviously got like the likes of, your Overwatches, your Fortnites, your Apex Legends players and everything coming up that have all started to really see themselves inside Valorant, understand the fundamentals and how to play the game well. And that's exactly what we are seeing come through in games like this. So as it stands, obviously with these 4 teams remaining, I don't know. I think the games of cost the next 2 days is really what's going to tell the story. But we do have the schedule to come up for us right now, which is about to pop your way onto the screen. Once again, a massive shout out to the L'Oreal Men Expert team for putting on this event alongside the Chiefs and Intel. But there we go. Dion, run us through the bracket. We're going to be starting from lunchtime, Australian Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow on this very channel. But also Tony's going to be bringing us some stuff as well.
Yeah, so the crisscross coming through to make sure that teams don't play each other if they were in the same group off the get-go tomorrow. So EXO Clan versus Notick, which will be provided on the mainstream here on the Chiefs channel that you are expectedly to be watching right now. Order and Rip and Tear are going to be provided coverage by Two Tap Tony and Matsy, if I do remember correctly, bringing hot and heavy in for that duo. But we string together all along through this bracket, and the big spicy, big orange, the bold words coming through, that grand final to be played on Sunday, BO5. So everything to be played for there.
And man, with such an amazing prize for 10K, and then of course, players that are going to be picking up their own custom Intel PCs as well. The winning team, I do believe it's 5 of those incredible PCs that are going to be going through to the successful players. But again, guys, make sure you do not miss it out. Saturday and Sunday of the big games, 2 lots of best of 3s accordingly, but now checking it out, of course, that is the beautiful prize pool. Just to reiterate, 6K to the winning team. And then of course, second and third going to be walking away with 3 and 1 rather, respectively, as it all does come through. But man, you've got to be running for that first place prize pool. 6K and 5 PCs, like wow, what a result!
Yeah, like the PCs you're going forward into that, we know the capability of those Intel CPUs. We know how, instrumental they can be in the gaming world as well. And for these players that are starting to really navigate into the streaming world as well, they'll really be able to push those PCs and have no problems with their frames. So that's what teams will be fighting for right now. They want to be getting good coverage in their own locations. Build yourself up as not only just a player, but surround yourself with, the company of the region, boast up the region together and showcase, why you're trying to go international.
Exactly right. And that is what thing that we are going to see. These teams showing off who is the best, who is going to be competing overseas when everything does start to settle. But guys, that has been myself and the Cockmoto duo to wrap up for the evening. Of course, it is the L'Oreal Men's Expert Chiefs Invitational for Valorant, supported by Intel. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Once again, I've been Mitch Conky Con Cannon, Dion Komodo Parada. We'll see you guys all. Well, you'll see, Mac and I believe Avril tomorrow first, but then you'll be seeing us in the afternoon. Thank you again, guys, for watching. Take care and have a great night. Peace.